Leche. 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 Leche.
Introducing PubCoin. PubCoin is the rewards program for pub sports contributors. Regular chat contributors share their play of the day, POD, in the YouTube chat, including the phrase POD in their message. At the end of the week, the amount of units earned are converted into PubCoins. PubCoin can be used as reward points for prizes, shop discounts, and contests.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? It's Mills here, Pub Sports Radio. Do you guys want to challenge the personalities here at Pub Sports Radio? Do you guys think you're better than them at entering in your MMA predictions and picks? Would you want to get paid for it? $100? Here's how you do it, man. You sign up right here at the link below. It's just this easy. PubSportsRadio.com. Enter your email. Pick your weekly picks. That's it. Oh, and you get bonus points if you can predict how they're going to win in what round. Every single week, a new winner's getting crowned. So every Saturday on Pub Sports Radio. So come on and check us out. You can win $100 just for signing up. Only thing you need to do is see if you can beat us here at Pub Sports Radio by entering your UFC predictions and picks weekly. Do it. I dare you. See you guys soon.
Upgrade your membership to Gold, you will be automatically entered in every horse race, every Wednesday and Friday. It is time to race horses. We are racing camels today.
Shout out to the Gold members. We're racing in San Antonio immediately here. And we're off. 2 minutes, 74 canals on this racetrack. It's wide. We're racing in San Antonio.
Matt Wally moving forwardly. Jeff Slaughter in the mix as well. And as is Randall Sheffield, who's put that beautiful nose out front.
But it's actually real grass here, Jimmy. Maybe Kentucky bluegrass. Oldie, no! There he goes. Oldie in the lead now. K. Wolf falls back. The horses love it. Sometimes they stop and eat it on the way to the finish line. That's why your horses start so far in the back. Here. Oh, look at Nussflush Allen bursting out here. J-Dub in the mix. Rude Boy up here as well. Jimmy, take it away.
There's Oldie. Oldie is moving to the front. We are past the halfway mark in our 2 mile. And there's Ricky Levy.
Oh my goodness, he's in the mix here. Jimmy, take it home. This is our first dog race ever.
19 seconds left in the horse race here. It's Fernando Mendoza trying to find the wire. 14 seconds left. Can Fernando Mendoza take this home? Here comes Kenny Can-Can. Kenny Can-Can wants a piece of the pie. Put his schnoz up front. Ricky Bobby, 9 seconds left. Can Donut Silks make a run? Can Res Mall make a run to be $50?
You son of a bitch!
Here comes Tori Coker. Kenny Can-Can, Smoke and Mirrors, Director 97 home. That is a way. Here comes Jason Meyer, the Eldorado custodian. Billy Friedrich, Jones one, all coming down to the finish.
Coin! Fired! Nowhere!
Oh no! Fanatical Jim!
From the corporate Peter Loshak, legendary sports handicapper, more dapper than a dom. Father young phenom, known as Jimmy, who declared one day that the bag was here to stay. Information like a PSA, when we all PSR, Pub Sports Radio, bizarre. Is a man named Slaughter and he flipped the script. No competition in this they quit the trip. But we say we be pubbing, better with the bag and you love it. We want a top 10, we above it. Leche.
What up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? Happy Tuesday, March 4th to all of you. Thank you for watching Loshak in the Bag right here on Pub Sports Radio. I don't have my phone here, so I hope our friend Lodels is here shortly. I did message him with our college basketball information yesterday, and didn't get a reply. So I'm not sure. Hopefully everything is all good there from our friend Peter Loshak. Shout out to all the cappers joining us. It's a very big college basketball week here for us. 44 games today, 31 tomorrow, 53 on Thursday, and 31 on Friday. So what I plan to do on the days where we can't get to them all, we might be able to get to them all tomorrow. Might be able to get to them all on Friday, but on a 44-day or on Thursday 53. I went through every single one of the games and made decisions on which ones I was close to betting. I cut that down to 18. I narrowed it down to 18, and I've bet 7 of them. So there's 11 left. We're going to go over all those spots, see if Pete adds anything to his card. Shout out to all of you guys here. Okay. So yes, he will be joining us here in a little bit. Great to see all of you guys. Justin McKelvey, stacks play today. Iowa State -9.5. Stacks play today number 2. Texas A&M +5.5. I don't know if you guys watched our best bets daily sesh Medicate Monday show, but Justin McKelvey was money in the bank, man. I loved his clip. He also delivered a winner. I rolled with him. I doubled up first half full game on Kansas. Shout out to Justin McKelvey lifting me up because the Kings were horrifying, and I know a bunch of my friends roll with me on the Kings, and not only did I lose money, but it was fucking embarrassing. And not only that, but I moved in live on the Kings when they tied it up at 1, or I missed it. They scored 39 seconds after. So it was 1-0 Blackhawks. I didn't get in on time. I had written it in, and then it went dark. So then when it was 2-1 Blackhawks, I was like, okay, here I get another chance. I got in at +100. And then, they lose 5-1 like the ass clowns that I guess they are. So that was very, very, very disappointing. We're going to get NHL. We're going to get started. We have an enormous card here. So we're just going to get right into NHL. But I need to do some copying and pasting here. Let's start with the stacks play today. Iowa State -9.5. And Texas A&M +5.5. The interesting part of the Iowa State spot was I was shocked that was the number. I thought it was too big of a spread. But the line moving towards Iowa State made me very uncomfortable. And Texas A&M, I'd like to join you on, but I didn't. It's one of the games that we're going to talk about here. I believe we'll talk about both those games because I was interested in BYU. But Texas A&M here +5.5. I'd like to join you on. Here. Our producer, our guy Jose Bouquet here joining us. Jose, how was your weekend, my friend?
There we go. Got my shit corrected. It was lovely. It was great. Can't complain. I did figure out what I'm going to do for some baseball previews, though.
Oh, nice. And what is that?
Yes, I did. And I think I'm going to go either team by team, division by division, but I'm going to make it members only. Members only for our members here. I want our gold members. And I think, I'm deciding if I'm making it gold members or just members in general, but I want our gold members and members to get some bones thrown their way here. So I'm going to make all the baseball previews members only for you guys. I'll record them. They'll be like 5 minutes a team, something like that. And I'm going to start doing that here very shortly. But I'm going to do that for the members. So shout out to all you guys that are members. Sign up, gold members. You guys know what it is, but shout out.
Oh, that's cool. I'm excited to watch and hopefully help and be a part of. I guess we can't shoot any of those while we're in San Antonio. I guess we're going to be too busy and drunk, I imagine. Shout out to all the cappers in the chat. UTSA, your UTSA Road Runners?
Yeah.
What they call it again? Road Runners? You're the UTSA Road Runners. They are the play of the day for Spooner, and I almost bet them. So they're on the list. They're a possibility here. UTSA. We've got a lot of great action coming in from our cappers in the chat, and heartbreak for Spooner as the Catamounts of Vermont, his team, lost their senior point guard for the season this weekend. No media coverage, but it appeared to my eyes and ears to be an Achilles. And we just watched Kyrie with the Achilles here. So we have Stacks Play Today is in. We have Fap win and his vat of lube in the house is like
God
Air Force
bless.
show some pride at home and cover the plus 16.5. I took a long look at that one too. I'm not sure if that made it, but I took a long look at it. You know how long it takes to take a long look at 44 games, Jose?
Long time.
Long time.
Yes.
Long time. Good God. And I'm going to be doing it all week except for the Wednesday and Friday, which I think we can cap all of the games. Copying and pasting our guy Fap's action here on Air Force. I'm going to keep copying and pasting, but Jose, my friend, our star of Loshak in the bag is backstage and ready to rock with us. So let's bring him on and see how he is here. Pistol Pete, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing okay. I'm assuming pounding Colorado as a huge favorite is like not a super stupid thing to do, right? I mean, that's
Colorado's a must bet today.
Okay, that's good to hear. So now I'm doing a lot better than I was doing about 15 seconds ago before I heard that. These fucking huge favorites. I love them. Sometimes they're really stupid, but yeah, all right. So that's nice. I'm doing okay then. Now I'm doing all right. A little bit behind. Sorry I'm late, everyone. Let's get into it. Well, I'm ready to go. I'm fucking ready.
We got a Richo INC in the house making moves. Troy Torrance, Razor Sharp Picks, Wine Time Sports, Slatsy Jermaine. I want to give everybody a shout out here in the chat. Let me get this all up. I'm copying and pasting like a madman. We're going to have to get right to work here. Ron Crawford, NCAA Play Today is Texas A&M. So we have the corner of Stacks and Spreadsheet Boulevard. It's a short list for me, but it wasn't. So I sent Pete the 18 games, of which 7 of them I have moved on. Rich made a lot of money with Houston first half. And Kansas +9, but Houston first half money line? Houston only won by 3 last night, Rich. Or the first half. I know because I was on the other side. I had Kansas. Maybe you mean Houston first half money line and Kansas +9. That makes sense. A +180. That's a nice bet. That's a nice bet. We got Nordy in the house. Kong's Clip says I have a spot that don't come up often. Last time he came up, I gave it out at 10 units. This time he has 15 units on Pereira, 10 units. Money line, 3 units. KO, 2 units. Wow, look at that. Kong's Clips that is copied and pasted. We got Serious Business in the house. Mike Wilkerson. Richo INC says LeBron to score first point in the game +400 gets his 50,000 point out of the way fast and they can celebrate. Wine Time letting us know that Kyrie tore his ACL out for the remainder of the season. Richo laughing how they have raised their season ticket prices, which is ridiculous. Eldorado Custodian Jason Meyer in the house. Sharon Pulliam. The nuke worker ready to get to work. Nasty Nate. Serious Business. A great group. Slatsy says Habs 1 point out of a playoff spot. At least they're making it interesting. What a fun close of the Eastern Conference playoff picture we're going to have. There's so many teams there. I have action. It's going to be tricky because I've got the Rangers at +180. So Rangers getting everything's fine. But I also have the Habs and the Flyers at nowhere near the number I could have got during the Four Nations break. I mean, they were like +1,400 and +1,600 respectively. I got pretty good numbers on both. I think around 600-700. I have to double check. But it's a fascinating spot. Eastern Conference. Western Conference, boring, man. The whoever gets into that final wildcard spot is going to be terrible and get swept. Jermaine in the house. Super true story. Nordy. Billy Friedrich on Auburn -4.5. No need to apologize, Billy, my friend. I'll copy and paste that right there. It is a very low number to get in on the best team in the nation. North Anderson is running insane hot in college basketball. Let's get to work. Billy Friedrich says Makachev is beating Pereira. So Billy Friedrich, and look at that. Wine Time agreeing with Billy Friedrich. Worth It says taking the Blues over the Kraken was a great bet from last week's show. Thanks, Pete and Jimmy. Yes, that was a spot where Pete was on St. Louis. I said I had Seattle queued up the night before. I didn't bet it. I flipped over and they won 7-2. Now I'm on the Kraken tonight, though. I'm on the Kraken tonight with some legit confidence. Shout out to Nutflush Allen on the way to school with Skylar Allen. Skylar, have a great, great day. Leading by example, the Allen family. And look at that. Check out the Locker Room Talk podcast tonight, says Kong's Clips, where I make my debut. Kong's Clips bet prayer this weekend and thank me later. The Sweaty Butcher in the house. Great to see all of you guys. Pistol Pete Loshak. It is time to get to work, my friend. roll into the National Hockey League. I was completely rolling after the Four Nations, and that came to a screeching halt last night. Last night, 0-3. If Ottawa had scored on the 4-on-3 power play in overtime, it wouldn't have been such a debacle. But the Kings made me look horrible. The only good thing about the Senators not coming back was I didn't bet them live, and I was beating myself up in overtime for it. Still cheering for them, but beating myself up. But that was a loser. It was a very, very rough night for me in the National Hockey League. Lightning was so embarrassing. Betting it at the complete worst time. From the moment it opened to the moment it closed, there was only an 11-cent move to the Panthers. But I bet at the complete worst time and got a plus 105 when I could have got a plus 140. And it was just sharp action on the other side, and that sharp action cashed. It was a rough day, Nate. I need to bounce back here badly. One more thing here for college basketball. Random bozo champions action under 9.5 corners in Bruges and Villa. And Sweaty Butcher cashing for his debut prime cut. Thank God, Sweaty Butcher. We needed it because I failed miserably. Spooner says Vermont hasn't lost on senior night since 2013. Albany head coach 0-7 versus Vermont. This spot feels like it's tailor-made for Albany to get a big win in Burlington. This line is suspiciously short. I thought the exact same thing, suspiciously short. It was going to be broken down on the show. It is not. I left it off. I've copied and pasted that. Nate Dogg 420 in the house. Kelly McInnes in the house. Peter, my friend, let's get to work. Let's start in National Hockey League. Do you want to set up our first game?
Okay, yes. And shout out to Nut Flush Allen, who I think he's my informal betting coach. Yelling at me to get my head on straight when I'm out of the game and underachieving and underwhelming. Certain teams, though, certain teams and people and situations cannot be fixed even with a coach. And maybe Nashville is one of those teams. Nice segue there, Jimmy the Bag. Nashville, I have some nice calls in NHL. I have some wrong calls, but fading Nashville, I've been almost always right, including their last game, all over the Rangers, -1 when they played Nashville. Of course, they won. The Rangers won 4-0. Nashville just awful in general. Boston struggling too. They have some life to them, though. This is actually a game. It's a suspiciously low line. This is a game where Nashville actually might be able to pull out one of their wins. Maybe if you gave me a free play on it, I'd probably throw it on the Boston team total over. Both these teams are having trouble scoring, and a low total justifiably. I'm very down on Nashville. I'm half down on Boston, not fully though. I wouldn't want to bet them here. Maybe Boston team total over. Wouldn't be surprised if Nashville gets the win here though. Pass up for a bet.
This is the easiest pass on the board. Very interesting to see our guy, Ron Crawford's spreadsheet play of the day on the Boston Bruins. Wow. We also have BJ's best bet here on A&M. So we have 3. We have Justin McKelvey, spreadsheet, and BJ all on Texas A&M. That's going to be a very this. It took me, I don't know how many hours to go through the 44 games to pick the spots I want to move on, but I know it's going to be helpful for the show today. BJ says, I also think Iowa State smacks the shit out of BYU. BJ, I hear that. I absolutely hear that because of the crazy line. We're going to get into all of that here shortly. Nicholas Handy in the house as well. LJ from H-Town says Predators 0-12 straight up on the road versus 2 goals or less, 10 out of 12 games, 1-6 against spread in this situation. Team total under 2.5 at plus 100. That might be an absolutely beautiful bet. It really, the way Boston's playing with such concern, knowing that they can't score, that might be just a great bet. I kind of want to just stay away from this hockey game, LJ, but I've copied and pasted that one. Let's get into the line history here for this spot. We have Boston right now -121. They opened up. Now it's back to -129. Okay, so I got to refresh everything because it was a couple hours ago. -129. So there's been a 2-cent move towards Boston. Let me refresh this. And then when we get to the total here for this one, over here, apologies. Let's get to the total. We have a 5.5. Of course, it's the Bruins. We have a 5.5, but it's -114 to the over. Open -115 to the over. So we've had no movement there. Aubrey Travis says Bruins price is tempting, but I don't know, man. I think they've been had. And free bands play the days. I'm going to copy and paste that in 1 second. Slatsy says Preds 0-6 last 6 on the road. Bruins 7-3 last 10 versus the Predators. I've got Saros and Swayman listed. Predators are just 6-20-4 on the road. Just another indication, especially in NHL, whatever teams make the most exciting offseason moves, you fade them. Fade them, take their season point total under. I don't know why it took me into my mid-40s to fully understand that, because the video game player in me, which I haven't played video games in 10 or 15 years, but loves the offseason moves, dreamt about playing. Stamkos doesn't have a point in 19 games. 19 games. He's so bad that you can't trade him. Nobody's going to pick up that contract. March or so has been a disappointment from leaving Vegas. I imagine that they're both going to be much better next year. Boston 18-10-5 at home. These are two bad hockey teams. TD Garden, Boston, Massachusetts. UC Saros 13-25-6, 2.96 goals against average, 8.99 save percentage, 4 shutouts. Swayman 18-20-6, 2.95 goals against average, 8.98 save percentage, 3 shutouts. Nashville power play at 20%, penalty killing at 80.8%. Boston power play at 15.3%, penalty killing at 76.4%. Both teams are playing their third game in 4 nights, which obviously increases the volatility enormously. Nashville comes in off their second straight loss in 4th and 5 games, 4-0 at the Rangers on Sunday. There's a bad hockey team. Bruins coming off their 6th loss in 7 games, 1-0 at Minnesota on Sunday. Unfortunately, I just pushed with Minnesota on the -1 line. The Bruins are without Hampus Lindholm and Charlie McAvoy. Hampus Lindholm out for the season. McAvoy out for at least another week with a shoulder infection. The only good thing, the only reframe you can do for Bruins fans is that Lohrei has stepped up and looks like he may be a really good defenseman in the National Hockey League. Trent Frederick also dealing with lower body injury. Brad Marchand missed a wild game on Sunday due to a shoulder injury. I don't expect him to be in the lineup. But he, is 47 points in 61 games. Yeah, it's not Marchand type numbers, but as he gets older, he still does quite a bit. 62 penalty minutes, 66 hits, 175 shots. He's a leader. Georgi Merkulov will be in the top 6 now with him being out. So here we go. And Nuffler saying, yes, just like in Major League Baseball, the most exciting news, take the season win total under. Yes, absolutely. So I think that obviously if spreadsheets on the Bruins, it's an angle that, if it makes sense to Ron Crawford's spreadsheet, I mean, they're the likely winner. I still can't back a team missing their top 2 defensemen, even though the Predators look like a garbage fire, and a garbage fire that nobody's standing around to get warm by. And I also think that LJ's angle on this team total under for the Predators might be an extremely sharp look, but I'm off this game at this point. And Igor Chinnikov back for the Jackets. The Jackets are going to make the playoffs, man. This is a real team. Wild. I like LJ's look. I'm going to study it a little more, but I'm off of this spot, Peter. I'm off this spot. I'm ready to move on to Sharks Sabres.
Yeah, I'm not going to add it to my official picks or anything, but I'm almost certainly going to tail, LJ and Ron Crawford. When there's a game that I think is just kind of an obvious pass, then it comes out as the play of the day from Ron Crawford. That is very eye-opening. Those usually tend to be very good. So I'm almost certainly going to be tailing Boston. I'm not going to add to my official plays though.
Yeah, I'm comfortable staying off of it right now. Sorry, I'm just getting my guy Dougie Wise's action copied and pasted here under the net spot. Let's roll on to the next game on the board, my man.
Yeah, I'm looking at all the interesting stuff in the comment section. Copy and pasting, hell of a lot of stuff. Maybe I will add to my official plays. I don't know. All right, so next game on the card, San Jose Buffalo. San Jose and on a back-to-back. Won at Toronto yesterday. San Jose, of course, always a big dog, and they usually lose, but they usually get some goals, and they usually play closer than their odds are giving them credit for. They're not getting blown out. Now that they're on a back-to-back, Buffalo's also on a back-to-back. They lost the second of their home-and-home against Montreal. They lost, this is a pretty good Buffalo spot, I think, but no way I would fade San Jose at that line. I was saying maybe the under, though, at 6.5. That's what I'd be leaning towards. I know that the San Jose rookie, Celebrini, got maybe a little nicked up in the Ottawa game on Saturday. So I was thinking maybe under 6.5.
Yeah, and for those of you guys about the feeds, I don't know how it works. I don't know how. So the ads during the feed, I apologize for you guys. I don't know how it works, because there's sometimes I'll watch one of our videos and I'll get a ton of ads, and then other times I'll get none. I have no idea how it works. So I apologize for you guys having to sit through the commercials. I apologize. Sharks Sabres here at KeyBank Center in Buffalo, New York. I just don't think that fading the Sharks is a positive EV bet for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
So even when the Sharks are in a bad spot, I don't know if you're getting the risk reward to fade them. Vitek Vanacek 3-10-3, 3.88 goals against average, 82 save percentage. So, and whenever I see the name Vitek Vanacek, I know that Nuff Lashan's going to be on the opposition's team total over. Maybe that is a great bet here because you have the Sharks coming off a big win for them, 3-2 in Toronto, and they've been good on this road trip. That's their first win on the 7-game road trip, but they played teams tough. They lost in overtime at Winnipeg and Montreal. This trip concludes on Thursday at Colorado. Nikolai Kovalenko is out. So is defenseman Henry Thrun and Jan Ruda. Celebrini and Will Smith are two of the most exciting players in the NHL, and Sharks fans are going to have a lot of fun watching hockey over the next 10 years or so. You have the Sabres coming off their third straight loss, 4-3 in overtime Montreal last night. You would think that this would be a smash and grab opportunity for them, especially with Vanacek in net. This total at 6.5 was juiced to the under -109. It's still there. It hasn't moved. On the money line, the Sabres are -221. And, maybe it's leaving money on the table, not backing them. But if you saw what happened to this line, it didn't come out here on the sharp offshore until 8:13 in the morning at -231. At 9:45, it was -206. There's still being a 10-cent move away from the Sabres, not towards the Sharks. There's only a 4-cent move towards the Sharks, but Sabres gone from -231 to -221. Look, I don't think that I don't want to fade the Sharks at this price. Respect, Barry, my man. Great to see you. I don't. Look, this is a bad spot for the Sharks. The Sabres are probably angry after losing in overtime Montreal, but are the Sharks that much worse than the Sabres? I mean, yes, they don't have number 1 overall picks on defense, but they have number 1 overall picks at forward. I'm off the spot, Pete. I can't. I imagine the Sabres are going to win. I don't know. I just don't trust it enough, Pete. It's just too expensive. What are your thoughts here? Did you have any interest in moving on the Sabres?
Yeah, I guess I was thinking about under, maybe Sabres team total under, but I guess it's all too risky. I guess it's going to be a pass.
It's just not appealing. It just isn't appealing. This is not the spot I think you want the Sabres in. I'm off it. Unfortunately, I'm off it. Let's roll into Hurricanes Red Wings.
Okay, I was just posting. All right, Hurricanes, Red Wings. Now, here we go. Again, there's a lot in NHL that I get wrong, a lot that I am confused by, but my read on Carolina being overvalued has been accurate recently. There's just when you see a team kind of like underwhelming based on their market valuation for a few games in a row, and there's no real explanation why. Sometimes it's just because they suck or they're mediocre, but way overvalued. And that's kind of the case with Carolina. I think they did get a win in their last one in OT as a huge fave. Now here again, they're a big road favorite against Detroit. I think the line has moved in Carolina's favor. I think I saw that, which surprises me. But, I'd be leaning Detroit team total over, Detroit money line, maybe -1, something like that. But got to be thinking it's once again a spot where Carolina's overvalued.
There's been a big move towards the Hurricanes.
Yeah, I don't understand.
Yeah, 30 cents, -172 to -202, a 30-cent move towards the Hurricanes. Turnsey and I have a bunch of friends that are big Red Wing fans, the Nuke Worker. I don't think they have the team to make the playoffs. I know a lot of people do think they can make the playoffs in the East. I don't think they are good enough. The over 6 opened up at -109. It's now -115. It's funny, in Red Wing games you want overs, and in Hurricanes games you want unders. So when they play each other, who is going to dictate the pace, especially with the Red Wings being at home? I think this is a difficult proposition here, Little Caesars Arena, where the Red Wings are just 16-13-3. They've only won 50% of the games in regulation at home. Hurricanes are just 12-15-3. Can you believe that? That the Hurricanes have won just 12 of 30 games? in regulation on the road. The great Carolina Hurricanes, as you said, Pete, they've been completely overvalued in the marketplace. Carolina power play 19.2%, 83.4% penalty killing. North Ender, I have spots that I love, so I really do have spots that I love. By the way, not Flush Allen talking about that spot for the Sabres says 3.5 minus 133, too high for him. But I think we can. He says I think we can find a creative way. If San Jose scores first, he'll move on both teams to score and Buffalo to win at a better number. Slatsy says Alex Tuch has scored 4 in 4 games straight and 6 of 7. Whereas a lot of teams want him, he looks like he wants out. Tuch to score a goal. That's a really interesting spot here. And Barry Smith giving us a final score of 4-2. It's a very possible situation there, Barry. I like it. And BJ telling us that A&M is down to 4.5 now. Also, Billy Friedrich saying Carolina 5-7 since the trade. Slatsy saying Canes 5-1 last 6 versus the Wins. Totals gone under last 7 meetings. Not Flush Island asking if I have verification on who's starting. I don't have it confirmed, but Billy Friedrich will know. Season ticket holder for the Hurricanes in our chat. I've got Freddie Anderson listed against Alex Lyon. Lyon 11-6-1, 2.74 goals against average, 902 save percentage. Anderson 2.29 goals against average, but just a 907 save percentage. Carolina power play 19.2%, penalty killing 83.4%. I mean, Detroit's power play is so phenomenal. It's the best in the league over the last while, and Carolina has a really strong penalty kill that can disrupt that great Detroit power play. The Hurricanes coming off an underwhelming 2-1 overtime win at home over Calgary on Tuesday for their second win in 3 games. This is their 3rd game in 4 nights, and just William Carrier is the only lone injury for the Hurricanes. Red Wings coming off their second straight loss, losing their second straight game to the Blue Jackets, 5-3 in the Stadium Series game at Buckeye Stadium on Saturday. They're playing without centers Michael Rasmussen and Andrew Kopp, and it's really noticeable. We talked about how much did we fade the Senators without Pinto and Norris. I mean, you just can't lose key centermen. You can't. You start losing faceoffs, then you lose puck possession, you lose depth, and these guys also play shorthanded. Nutflush says the team total over 2.5 minus 120 will be on his card. Our guy Black Thor King OG low bagger in the house. With all that said and done, Detroit's going to be an angry group. Hurricanes coming over underwhelming victory. They're playing underwhelming hockey. There's nothing that appeals to me here in this game from a betting angle. I would want overs, as I said, in the Red Wings games, unders in the Hurricanes games. There's spots that I do want to attack, and this isn't one of them.
How could there be a 35-cent move in favor of Carolina? So you think Carolina, they're overvalued, but they're going to have the defense to shut down Detroit here?
I think there's a real issue with Detroit's depth. And then when you look at the forwards that succeed for the Blackhawks, other than Larkin, who could play on any team in the world, you have the DeBrinkets and the Canes, smaller players that really aren't useful in the playoffs. I mean, now Kane at his age now, Kane's a 3-time Stanley Cup champion. There's a reason why he was phenomenal. But, he slowed down a little bit. Then you take 2 centers off the Red Wings. You have the Hurricanes playing underwhelming hockey. I think at minus 175, honestly, Pete, I probably should have taken the Hurricanes on the -1 line immediately.
Jeez.
But
all right, well, I bet the team total over for Detroit. Look at Nutflush Allen's comments there. It's not good to be on the same side as Nutflush Allen, all caps comments. So I'll make that official. I already bet it. Detroit team total over 2.5 minus 111. I'll make that official. I can't explain the 35-cent line move.
Wings team total over 2.5. Was that minus 111?
Yeah, maybe Carolina will win 6-3.
Let's roll, Pete. Let's roll. Let's get into the Blue Jackets Lightning spot.
All right. Well, this one, Columbus, I have also been vaguely on Columbus as they've been good. They just beat Detroit twice. Tampa Bay on a back-to-back on that Florida game. I passed on that, but my lean was like under in first period under in both those cash. I should have bet them, but I didn't. But as far as the side is concerned, I was totally off it, although you said you saw some sharp movement that turned out to be correct. So Tampa Bay here, it's a high line for them going up against Columbus. I just can't fade Columbus at that line. Kind of similar to San Jose. Probably is a good spot for Tampa Bay, but I'm not going to take it. I don't know. Maybe the under.
I thought about the under as well. It's an almost impossible bet with Jonas Johansson in that.
Right.
Almost, but I certainly thought about it. Even Merzlikins. Look, Jonas Johansson, Merzlikins. Is Merzlikins that much better than Jonas Johansson? I don't know. Let's get into the line history here for this spot. We have the Lightning at minus 158. They opened up at minus 183. That's a big move towards the Columbus Blue Jackets. Maybe it's predicated on who's between the pipes for the Lightning or how well the Jackets are playing. We just heard from Slatsy that Chinnikov is back. I picked Marchenko in the 11th round of my hockey pool and Chinnikov in the 14th. Chinnikov obviously being hurt and not help, but no one has a better pick in the 11th round in our pool than Marchenko. He leads that round. Chinnikov coming back. I mean, this team, when they get Monahan back as well, Cole Sillinger is a helpful young player. Kevin LeBanc done for the season. Who cares? No offense to him, but who cares? Eric Goodbranson is one of the worst defensemen in the NHL. His Corsi numbers are an abomination. He's a fake tough guy. He only fights smaller guys and won't stick up for his teammates. I really dislike him. Like I can't think of a defenseman that I dislike more in the National Hockey League. Maybe Ole Juolevi, but he's not in the National Hockey League. I hate him. I hate Goodbranson. Now, Ole Juolevi's just not that good. Goodbranson is a fraud tough guy, a fake-ass tough guy. You see these guys out in public, and you want to stab them in the throat. Columbus power play at 21.6%, penalty killing at 75.3%. Tampa Bay power play at 26.2%, penalty killing 80.8%. Columbus comes in off their fourth straight win at Buckeye Stadium in the Stadium Series. It was impressive. They've scored 21 goals over this 4-game winning streak. Lightning on the second half of a back-to-back after having their 8-game winning streak snapped in a 2-1 loss at Florida last night. Tampa's a completely healthy group. I don't want to fade Tampa off of a loss. Clearly, Columbus should be the bet here. They should be the bet here. Tampa Bay is playing so well, and I'm not going to let a 2-1 loss at the defending Stanley Cup champions, despite not having Matthew Tkachuk, mess with me here. Browns Hughes took the over 6.5 at minus 120 and grabbed the Jackets at plus 157. I get it. I'm not moving on this. Now, all my action's coming now. I've made 5 bets in NHL, so don't worry. I know I've been sitting here on the sidelines in a lot of these spots. We do have a question for you, Pete. Did you retire the fur coat? It's a question from Saturated.
Hell no. I guess there's a lot of shit going on. I got it. I'm not going to bring it down to San Antonio because, it's a bit of a tough thing to schlep, and it's probably going to be pretty hot there. So maybe I will bring it to. Who knows? Who knows what I'm going to bring down to San Antonio? I definitely have that. Raccoon, baby.
Yeah, I'm very comfortable moving on past this hockey game. I'd like to watch it. I like these two hockey teams. You guys know I'm very high on the Lightning. I think they're going to win the Atlantic. Now, losing to Florida last night didn't help. But I'm off, Pete. I'm ready to fire away, though, starting in the next game.
Yeah, Billy Friedrich saying I like bolts here. I mean, I was leaning that way. It's just very, very hard to fade Columbus as that big of a dog. All right, next game, Calgary, Philly. Calgary's really bad right now, right? Philly, they have some life to them, right?
They're a bad hockey team.
What?
They've been bad all year. They're a bad hockey team. I mean, saying it all year,
but they've gotten even worse. Like I feel like 2 weeks ago was like a sell low spot on Calgary, but it was the right move because they've gotten really bad now, right?
They got off to a tremendous start at home, and it cost me a lot of money, and so I've been very hesitant to fade them at home. But I want to fade them in every other situation, Pete.
They're a shitty team. Philly has some life to them. They're back home off a nice road win at Winnipeg. Philly can beat shitty teams. They beat Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's not shitty, but they're borderline shitty. Whatever they're are,
shitty. They're
shitty, right? Yeah. So Philly can beat your shitty teams, your Calgarys, your Pittsburghs, your San Jose's. Oh no, they're not shitty. So I don't know. The big question here is Calgary going to be able to bounce back here in some way? If not, then maybe it's just a no-brainer. Don't overthink it. Play on Philly is not a huge favorite.
It's a no-brainer move on Philly here. The Flames aren't. I mean, they're coming off a good game for them. They're coming off a good game. They lose 2-1 in overtime at Carolina on Sunday. Excuse me. They got to feel good about that. I mean, they're not coming into this game. They've scored 3 goals over this 4-game road trip. 3 goals over. And when we talk about the Flyers, look, they just beat Winnipeg in Winnipeg on Saturday. Now, Kelly McKinnon is backing the Flames here. I'm not. I'm on the Flyers on the -1 line at plus 119. Aubrey Travis also on Calgary plus 1.5. Billy Friedrich says this is game 5 of the 6-game road trip for the Flames. It's been a tough one. Tough, low-scoring games. This is their 3rd game in 4 nights with travel every night. Now, I see, cappers I respect in the chat who are backing them here. I want nothing to do with them. Samuel Urson, this Flyers team, they're really, really excited to come to the rink. These teams like the Habs, the Ducks in the Western Conference, the Flyers, they're in a playoff race for the first time in a long time. And they are excited and they're pumped up coming to the rink. Now, you could say the same thing about the Flames. They're certainly in a playoff race because the bottom of the Western Conference is so weak. Barry Smith, Flames money line, his play of the day. Now, Barry Smith cashed with the Flames and he was bullish against the Capitals. That was their first game of a 6-game homestand when they were fresh. This is, in my estimation, a beaten down Flames team that's going to get attacked by the Flyers because the Flyers are elite off the rush. If you look at the Corsi numbers, any of the advanced analytics, they're a top 5 team. They're a top 3 team off the rush. And Calgary's going to be on their heels all game long. Now, Wolf is a good goaltender, and he's capable of making big saves. Calgary's power play is 21.3%. Philly has a decent penalty kill. It's getting a little better. Philly's power play has been improving. Rocky Thompson's been over there trying to fix it all year. 16.3% now. And Calgary's penalty killing is very weak at 73.9%. Now, I'm nervous to look at the line history. This 5.5 has moved 8 cents towards the under. In Calgary, and look, they've scored 3 goals in 4 games. I mean, obviously, people are going to want the bet unders when they play. There's not been a line move towards the Flyers, very slight one. This opened up at minus 138. It got down to minus 132. I got minus 140 and plus 185, so I only got minus 1 at plus 119. But I'll take it. The Flyers have won 3 of 4 post-4 nations. The teams like the Flyers and Habs, they're a young team that needed the break so desperately. It's young teams that fall apart in February and March. 82-game schedule is very daunting. This break mid-season has been enormous for these 2 young clubs. Remember, no team, now they've made some trades, but no team had more first-round draft picks on their roster than the Philadelphia Flyers, and many of those first-round picks were of the last 4 or 5 years. Garnet Hathaway's day-to-day with an upper body injury. They've been off since Saturday. I just think that the Flames are going to be on their heels all night long. They've been playing good defensive hockey. They're not coming in angry. They played great against Carolina. I think it's a great spot for the Flyers. I'm on them on the minus 1 line, Pete.
The only thing it does make, it is, they had a trade recently, so that, might be something kind of, changing things up psychologically. But you're right. It's going to be a pass for me. I was leaning under, but I'm not going to take that one either. Just a pass.
And this is one of those spots that's, not a big thing to me, but not one person here has said Flyers in our chat.
Look at this. And Barry Smythe, 5-3 Flames. If the actual final score is anything close to that, I'm going to be very impressed. I'm going to copy and paste that. That is
and Barry's the one who called them to beat the Capitals.
Yeah, and it was on the Caps, So yeah, there you go.
This situations when everybody else is, plays of the day and against me on every bet. Not one person is backing me. Have been very successful for me on the show. Flyers minus 1 for me, Pete. Let's roll on to Jets Islanders.
Barry Smythe like an high-scoring game and Calgary to win. All right, next one, Winnipeg Islanders, another tough one because Winnipeg, of course, great team, now off of 2 straight close losses, which does happen to elite teams, as the grind of the season wears on. They're just very good. Other teams come to play them hard, and they string together, a bunch of, like a 10-game stretch where they go 3-7. When Vegas was so great, I remember they had one of those stretches. It happens to every elite team, it seems, in the NHL. Might be happening to Winnipeg right now. Islanders on a back-to-back. They're off a shutout loss to the Rangers. Of course, the Islanders, big dog here. I don't know. Maybe an over. Maybe over. But I wouldn't want to take Winnipeg as a big road favorite right now, just because of where we are in the season. Wouldn't really want to take Islanders against Winnipeg off 2 losses. Maybe over. What do you think, Jim?
I felt forced to bet the Jets on the minus 1 line.
Oof.
And so I did comfortably. Now, the question here for Patrick was, and I don't think he can go back with Sorokin. So that means that Jakub Skarek needs to be in that. Did Sorokin deserve to get another chance after allowing 4 goals? I think only maybe 3 were with him in net. I don't know. They have Sorokin listed. Jakub Skarek is one of the biggest underachievers for goaltenders that we've seen from Czechia. He was picked 72nd overall in the 2018 draft. He has never had a season in North America, and he came over in 2019, 2020, and this includes ECHL. He's never had a season with a save percentage over .896. That's why he's never had opportunities in the National Hockey League. He's a 6'4", physically looks like the specimen that you'd want in net, but he continually underachieves. But I don't know if they're going to go with Skarek here, but I think they are. I think they're going to go with Skarek. Now, you could say right now to me Sorokin's confirmed, but I think they're going to go with Skarek, and this line's going to move 30 cents towards the Jets. This is what I expect here. Gravy Bets, GB9 in the house. T-Moss with us as well. T-Moss, it's great to see you. We've been thinking about you, Peter. I don't know if you know about our friend T-Moss. His stepfather died. Not this weekend, but the weekend before, and he's been at the hospital with him, and he's at the hospital every day with his mom, who's going through chemotherapy, and he's raising money for the burial for his stepfather. We've been trying to help him with as much as we can. He's put together a GoFundMe. Jose, if you could pop that into the chat, the GoFundMe, if anybody can help out our friend T-Moss, would mean a lot to us. So here, Hellebuck, 1.99 goals against average, 927 save percentage, 6 shutouts, on his way to, another Vezina. Winnipeg's power play is 30.5%. In years past, the Islanders had a great penalty kill. Now, they're healthier. And so with Pelican Pullock back, you can expect that their power play will improve. Ava's on the under 5.5 here. Joey B asking if Loshak's drinking prune juice. We'll ask him if he's drinking his prune juice and Courvoisier. It is early for that for Pete, but don't put it past him. That's how he brushes his teeth in the morning. We have in this spot here, we have, of course, Varlamov out, Matt Martin out. He's a character guy. You have Mike Riley, their defenseman, out, and which isn't that big of a deal. Now they have Pelican Pullock back, and they picked up Perunovic, they picked up Tony DeAngelo, smaller defenseman. That Pelican Pullock are stay-at-home big defensemen. They're great defensemen. And Barzal is out, which means their power play is going to do next to nothing. The Jets coming off their second straight loss, 2-1 in a shootout on Saturday at Philadelphia. They've been off. They lost to a team that's not in the playoffs. They are completely healthy, and the Islanders are on the second half of a back-to-back. Look, maybe this is too easy, but those spots, they don't scare me in NHL. They scare me in every other sport, but they don't scare me in NHL. Now, I had to tell myself that. Not to be concerned here. I also got a bad line. Many other people got better lines than me. This opened up at minus 167, 8:15 a.m. I could have bet this last night at a better line, but I don't like fading teams off getting shut out. I don't like it. And I wasn't going to do it. But I'm looking at Skarek. I'm wondering what Patrick Waugh is going to do. I feel like this Islander team is going to go into sell mode pretty soon. If they go on a little losing streak right here, it's going to be sell mode. The Jets are now minus 184. They went from so at 8:15 a.m. they're minus 167. 2 minutes later, a 4-cent move to them. 1 minute later, a 14-cent move to them. When this line came out, it took 3 minutes for it to move 18 cents towards the Winnipeg Jets, who are off of 2 losses. Rod Zwackis' Islanders getting their ass handed here. Look, this is a spot here for the Jets where you say, keep it simple, stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Jets -1. I got minus 116 on it. So, look, I'm fading the New York Islanders on the minus 1 line beat.
Okay, yeah. I'm seeing also Nutflush Allen loving the Philly team total over. So that's going to be an interesting game. I'm thinking about just taking the over here. I mean, is Winnipeg, is there any reason why they'll lock down defensively here? They'll probably just try
That's how they do. That's how they play. That's how they play. That's how they play, and that's how the Islanders used to play.
Yeah.
So, the reason why you could be beating this line by 20 or 30 cents if Skarek's announced in. But if Skarek's not announced in, how about this? If Sorokin plays tonight, I'll bet the under. I'll expect him to have a monster game, them to be very, very tight defensively. If Skarrick's in, then I'm not going to bet the over, but you'll have beaten the over line by 25 cents. What are the chances that Sorokin's in? Patrick Waugh was a goalie himself, and he played back-to-backs. I don't have that answer.
I'm just saying that their two losses were not because their defense, they didn't give up a lot of goals. They just sort of, yeah. All right, you know what? I'm going to take a shot with it. I'm going to take a shot with the over. 5.5, minus 113. I'll shop around for a better line. We'll see. We'll see how it turns out.
Loshak on the over 5.5 and minus 114.
113, but I'm going to shop around and get a better line.
Okay. Let's roll on to the next spot on the board, Pete, because it's a very similar breakdown to this one here.
Yeah.
So take a look.
Wow, this is a total, again, a game, total pass for me, and the lines are suspicious. New Jersey. Last game on their trip, they're off a shutout loss at Vegas, and I believe Jack Hughes he's definitely banged up. I'm assuming he's out, right? So bad spot for New Jersey, except they're off a shutout loss. And then Dallas just absolutely rolling, right? A legit great team off of 2 6-goal home wins, just rolling. So how could Dallas? The first line I saw, I'm assuming it moved in Dallas's favor, but the first line I saw was like minus 150. And where is it right? Yeah, minus 163. All right, fine. Even there, it's moved 10 cents in Dallas's direction. And, you got Dallas who they've scored 6 goals themselves in each of their last 2 home wins. And you had a 5.5 here. Wasn't even juiced to the over. So the opening lines did not make sense to me. Obviously, my initial thoughts would have been lean Dallas, lean over. But I didn't bet it.
This was the same situation for me. Quick, though, want to give a shout out to Sweaty Butcher, man. Family dog passed away. Irie passed away last night. He says his boys are devastated. I'm so sorry that you have to go through that with your family, my friend. It's heartbreaking stuff, and love to you and the wife and kids. What a great family. We got to meet them at Santa Anita, and Sweaty Butcher going to be coming to Pub Palooza. Just a great guy, and I'm sorry that you had to go through that. Our friend Gorky dropping action here in the chat and also blessing us with Dono's Euro basketball, getting it started, and then Georgia and Auburn on the money line right after that here. Let's get that here. And by the way, Rod Swag says, how about this? I don't care who's in net. I think that's what he meant for the Islanders. He's on the Jets minus 2.5 at plus 240. Bullish, absolutely bullish on the Jets. I love hearing that. And then this was the same situation. In any other sport, I would say this is a fishy line, but not in NHL. Look, sure, maybe it won't be as easy as it's been for the Stars, especially with Markstrom back, which then, if Markstrom plays like he did 2 nights ago against Vegas, maybe this is an under. But Dallas has been just, scoring at a very high rate. This opened up at minus 144. How? Not only that, it got up to minus 171, and then it dropped back to minus 158. I can't comprehend, why the number would be at this like this. I got the minus 1 line, Pete, at minus 101. And how? I look, we can sit here and go, what? Again, there are gifts in the NHL, and I'm not going to overthink things. These are smaller betting markets. It's not like they're getting destroyed at the books. My guess is that Devils power plays at 27.1%. Let's see what it looks like without Hughes. Joey B saying that he flew back already. All I know, he had played 22 minutes. Sheldon Keefe says there's no update. He's going to have to be evaluated. So obviously didn't look good. We're going to have to take our time to know the full extent of it. So if he flew back, I mean, no one thought he was. We didn't think he was going to be in the lineup anyways. So what happens when your star, your main player, gets hurt at the end of a 5-game road trip? Don't you just want to go home, regroup, coming off their second loss in 3 games? Both have very strong penalty killing. I may have interest in this under. It's hard to say that with the way Dallas has been playing. By the way, the Devils are also missing Jonas Siegenthaler. The Stars have won both games to start this 4-game homestand. This is game 3 of 4-game homestand. It's a great spot. They beat the Kings 6-2 on Friday. Then they beat the Blues 6-3 on Sunday. They're still working things out without Heiskanen and Lundqvist. Lundqvist done for the full season. Heiskanen done until the playoffs. Tyler Seguin out until the playoffs start. but he could be back a little bit earlier. They still have money with Heiskanen on the LTIR, but I imagine now that they know that Vegas is going to be using the LTIR and the Panthers are going to be using the LTIR, that they'll want to keep Seguin out so that they can double up here. If you don't have Stars futures, I think you're making a mistake. I really do. They're a juggernaut in the Western Conference. And is this the spot where the Devils come together and rise up after watching their superstar get hurt? Maybe. But
and there's your answer is that it's DeSmith, not Ottinger.
Oh, it's DeSmith in that.
Yeah, which is what I assumed at the minimum. I assumed that when I saw the line, right?
Rod Zawacki with me here on futures on the Cup and West on Dallas. LJ from H-Sun says Dallas 14-4 team total over the last 18 games. Rod Zawacki says New Jersey's 8-0 to the under off of a road loss. That's interesting. And shout out to our guy, a lucky lefty in the house, Sportsman of the Year. Great to see you. So, and prime cut is the Nets plus 4.5. I'm going to copy and paste that. Maybe I should be adding the under here. Let's just take a look at what's going on with that line. Dallas is 5.5. It's juiced to the over. The Devils are going to play so tight. I think I add the under 5.5 with some concern and some nervousness. But I think I'm going to add. Oh, but you said it's DeSmith. Has that been confirmed?
Yeah, likely. But as soon as I saw the line, I was like, well, that's at least one of the factors that's contributing. Yeah. What else could it be?
Can keep me off of the under 5.5 with DeSmith in that. But no, it shouldn't, though. I think DeSmith should be announced. This line should move more towards the over. Can the Devils score without Hughes? I watched the Devils struggle to score with them. I think maybe it's still the under, but it's certainly a weight here. But I'm on the Stars -1, -101. It's a can't miss spot. Shout out to my guy Aaron Malavo in the house. Barry Smith giving us a final score of 3-2 Dallas. Look, I don't mind. You guys know I bet -1s nonstop. I don't mind pushes. I deal with them nonstop every night. I don't mind them. I still go for the score. I want the big score. I want to cut down my vig. Pete, I'm comfortable moving on, but I'm on the Dallas on the -1 line, -101.
I'm gonna double up here. I'm gonna take Dallas -1, -101, and I'll take New Jersey team total under 2.5, -111. I'll shop around, see if I can get better than that, but I'll take that one as well.
That's a great way of doing it. But Markstrom looked phenomenal last game. But I still think it's a great way. So under 2.5 was -111.
Yeah,
and Stars -1. Well, so that looks like I may have some additions possibly here. Possibly some additions. Joey B looking at Stars, Avs, Jets 3-game parlay. Yeah, Stars, Avs, Jets. I like that a lot. Aubrey Travis looking at the Stars and the under. And I've got to copy and paste before I forget it. I got to copy. And Devils to not make the playoffs last week plus 1,200. Wow. I wonder if they could slip all the way out. That might just be a brilliant, brilliant look here. And I've got to copy and paste the prime cut. I'm going to look at that. Why don't we just look at it very quickly together? I know we need to speed up, but here the Devils with 72 points, they could so easily slip out of the playoffs. Wow, that might be absolutely spectacular, Slatsy. Okay, let's roll on, Pete.
Okay, next game on the card, Pittsburgh, Colorado. As soon as the line came out, I kind of no-brainer hit Colorado -1. Pittsburgh, they're all right. They're just not that good. They almost got a win last game against Toronto as a big home dog. So that's what I'm saying. It's like, yeah, they're gonna have those games sometimes, but in general, they're just not that good. Colorado off of 2 margin home wins. They were struggling for a very short period of time. Now back home, they're rolling. They're pretty deep and just didn't even think about it too much. Took Colorado -1. Don't remember what line I got, but I will give that one officially at whatever the current lines are.
Yeah, I took the Avalanche on the puck line, -1.5, -110. Joey B is going to be in Ball Arena for the game tonight. Joey B, you are so lucky. I got to call Sonny, see if he's going to be at the game too. He says rumors are that Crosby will be an Avalanche player by Friday. Look, you can dream about that all you want. Who do you have to give Pittsburgh to start over? I mean, it was different when Ray Bourque was traded to you guys. It was a different situation here. It was a guy who'd never won, who was playing on a horrible team. Crosby's going to retire as a Pittsburgh Penguin. If he was traded to the Avalanche, I'd be as excited as I've ever been about anything, but I'm on the Avalanche on the puck line here. The question I had was, do I also move on the over? Crosby steps up when he plays McKinnon and vice versa. And, with Rust going to the net and Malcolm back, there's some appeal to the over. It's a 6.5, though. It opened up -102. It's now -104. I do have interest in it, and I wanted to talk it out and hear if anybody else liked it as well. I'm not sure if I get there. Maybe it's just better. Maybe you're better off with just an Avalanche team total over. I mean, could the Avalanche win this game 3-1 or 3-2? I think that is an unlikely final score. Maybe it's 4-1. I guess maybe that's a little more likely, but expecting Pittsburgh to get stops, especially with Yari in net. That's why I've listed. But Needles, Yari, they're both bums. 8-8 and 4, 3.31 goals against average, 886 save percentage. Mackenzie Blackwood on the other side looking quite strong, 9.16 or 0.916 save percentage. Pittsburgh power play 24.2%, penalty killing at 78.8%. Colorado power play 22.5%. It's been weak all year, surprisingly. I'm not the weakest I've seen a McKinnon Makar power play. 79.9% penalty killing. Penguins coming off their second straight loss, 6-5 in overtime at home to the Leafs on Sunday. This is their third game in 4 nights. They lose in overtime on Sunday. On Monday, they fly to Thin Air, Colorado. Then they play the Avalanche on Tuesday. It's very difficult. Michael Bunting, left winger, out. Same with defenseman Pierre-Olivier Joseph. Avalanche have started the 6-game homestand with a 5-1 win over the Devils on Wednesday and a 5-2 win over Minnesota on Friday. I lost the under in that one, and I, both Mel and I were hesitant for people betting the Avalanche on the -1.5 line, but it came quite easily. I know a lot of us got in live on the Avalanche in that game, but still, I felt bad that we kind of pushed people off of that spot. Also, I thought we were going to push the under. That goal came with 8 seconds left. It was a 4-2 game, and the only chance you have, I believe, of not having the empty net goal scored against you is if you get penalized. And that's what happened. I was like, oh my God, we're going to get this. But then they got one rush with 20 seconds left. Goalie skates out of his net and they score the empty netter. Josh Manson's missed 6 straight games with lower body injury. He's crucial to the Avalanche success come playoff time because he brings so much toughness to the table. But this is a rested, dangerous group. I'd love to hear the chat's thoughts on the over. Barry Smith saying over. And Rich OINC saying I'm in Pittsburgh. Nothing means anything here. It's not, man. He's not being traded. He starts his career and he finishes his career as Pittsburgh Penguin, just like Lemieux. But with all that being said, take it away for us here. Kelly McKinnon says Gretzky can be traded, so can Sid. Look, I don't think that's the right comparison. That there was different things going on here, but I hear what you're saying, Kelly. Take it away for us here, Pete. Is there any interest, and do you have any interest on the over in this one?
Probably, but for officially, I'll just say Colorado -1, -188. Colorado -1, -188.
Loshak -1 at -188 here. Okay, and I'm on the Avalanche puck line, and I have interest on the over. Let me just switch that up. Let's set up the next spot on the board, Pete.
All right, Anaheim, Edmonton. Edmonton now returns home. They ended the road trip with a win over Carolina, which impresses me a little bit, but not a huge amount. And what's up with Edmonton? This is where you earn the big bucks, Jimmy the Bag, because you can tell us what's up with Edmonton. They've been struggling recently on the road. Is there something wrong with them or not really? And then you got Anaheim. You told us about Anaheim a while ago. They've been undervalued. They are off of a margin home favorite loss to Chicago, which is fine. But before that, they were good. So before the show, I bet, at minimum, Anaheim team total over 2.5 at plus money. And I took Anaheim to score a goal in the first period. I got like -110 or something like that. So a low line for Anaheim to score in the first period. And then is the over a good bet or not? Is Anaheim a good bet at a huge dog line to win? Not exactly sure because I'm not exactly sure what's up with Edmonton. Why don't you tell us, Jim?
Their defense is extremely weak.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to make a move at the deadline, and it's going to be a big move. The last big move they made for a defenseman at the deadline was Matthias Ekholm off of the Predators. I can't believe the Predators would have given him away. But Kulak and Klingberg as a top 4 defenseman is absolutely ludicrous. They're absolutely so. You need Ekholm and Bouchard to play 30 minutes a game. They don't just need to pick up one defenseman; they need to pick up 2 defensemen. Stetcher and Emberson, they're not good enough to be on a good team's defense. So it's their defense. It is a huge problem. They have Evander Kane now healthy. What the hell are they going to do with him? Draisaitl shouldn't have to play with Podkolzin and Savoie. They don't have enough depth. They just don't have enough depth. Henrique, Janmark, and Connor Brown's a nice third line. And Kapanen, Skinner, and Corey Perry. I mean, Skinner was not worth anything here. Shout out to Mr. Tomatoes in the house. Now, this spot is... I do not want the Oilers right now. I really think that even in a spot where they must win, they may not. I think that you need to wait for them to make a move at the deadline and then wait a couple games after that, for them to get comfortable, the defensive pairings to get comfortable. But it's all about their defense. Their defense is weak. It's not good enough. Look, I still think the Oilers will make moves at the deadline and will win the Stanley Cup. But if they play Dallas in the series with this roster, they're going to lose. If they played Colorado with this roster, they may lose. If they played Winnipeg with this roster, they may lose. They could beat the Knights with this roster and other teams like that. But the Ducks are a good young hockey team, and it's great. It's great for the LA area, and they're going to be good for a while. Lucas Dostal, 2.90 goals against average, 910 save percentage is very strong. Stuart Skinner's been playing okay. I mean, that's what you get from him, 898 save percentage. Anaheim power plays at 12.6%. Cronin does some good things motivation-wise and making sure his young forwards are accountable defensively. But there's so many problems with his X's and O's. And, there's a reason why I didn't get an NHL job for 25 years while he was a top coach in college. 73.8% penalty kill. Their special teams are weak. And their power play should be better. You guys know I love their forward group. I love the veteran number one line and then the young stars on the number 2 and 3 line. I mean, I love Mason McTavish, who's been underachieving a bit. Leo Carlson's going to be a monster. He's been underachieving a bit. It's tough being a young player. We've watched Zegras fail for 3 or 4 years now. I think Cutter Gauthier is going to be a monster. He had a 4-game goal streak going until I don't think he scored in that last game. The Oilers concluded, and this is the first of a back-to-back. So what I would like to have happen is the Oilers beat the Ducks 6-1. And then we can back the Ducks against the Canucks. That'd be the best case scenario. The Oilers concluded that ugly 5-game road trip with their lone win, 3-1 at Carolina on Saturday. Brett Kulak is sick. Alec Regula's out. Those are two defensemen who are kind of weak, but the whole defensive group is weak. I have no action on this hockey game, Pete.
All right. Well, I'm going to take 2 shots. I bet them both. Anaheim, team total over 2.5 at plus 120. And Anaheim to score in the first period, minus 116. And I'm not going to bet it, but just looking at this, team scoring first to win the game, no, at plus 170 is kind of interesting. Could easily see Anaheim getting an early goal and then Edmonton winning. Or even the opposite is possible. So, yeah. But those are just 2 official plays for me.
Slatsy says goalie post has Pickard confirmed for the. I don't think there's that much of a difference. Irish King says Ducks win. Pickard's in. Pickard looked great when he did play last week. Pickard could feasibly take over the number 1 spot. Irish King going to move on the Ducks to win. Rod Zwacky on the Ducks money line first period. And Billy Friedrich, Ryan Suter's done. Personally, I wouldn't pick him up. I would be looking for someone more capable of playing every second night against the toughest teams. Ryan Suter's had a good career. Don't get me wrong, but there is a reason why he was, bought out. I think he's been bought out now twice in his career. So, Pete on the Ducks team total over 2.5 at plus 120. Ducks first period plus a half at minus 1.
No. First period goal minus 116.
Oh, my bad. Yes, yeah. First period team total over a half. First period team total over a half minus 116, and the Ducks at plus 120. Yeah, I'm with you, Rod. Because I've got futures on the Oilers. I don't want Suter, but there's a lot of defensemen that I do want. And remember, we've watched them do this and make it work with Ekholm. Let's roll into the final spot on the board, Pete. We got to make moves because we got college next.
Okay, Minnesota, Seattle. I looked at this game. I was thinking maybe Seattle is a good play here, but I wasn't sure about it. Then I heard at the beginning of the show you liked it, so I think I will go on it. Of course, Seattle off the 6-goal home win over Vancouver, but in general, they're not a particularly impressive team. This is a low line, though. Minnesota slumping. They did get a 1-zip win over Boston in their last game, but in general, not very good. And it is Grubauer bobblehead night in Seattle, so that factors in. I guess, yes, Seattle at the low line. Minnesota's like pretty much a fade or pass at this point, right?
Minnesota's in a real tough spot. We did back them against the Bruins, but they lose Jonas Brodin in that game. Well, the reason why we were backing them, I mean, look, Marco Rossi is a phenomenal young forward. Zuccarello can still play and still look good on the power play, look good on the top line. And then, of course, Matt Boldy is a sniper of a very high quality. So they still have some weapons, but you take Brodin off that defensive group, it does hurt them. Eldorado says, doesn't the Wild have the best road winning percentage this year? The Minnesota Wild, yes, they're 21-9-3 on the road, which doesn't concern me at all. You take Joel Eriksson-Ek off that team. I honestly, I mean, I've said, look, and I don't mean any disrespect to Kaprizov because he's a sniper of the very highest quality we have in the NHL. But the Fabers and the Joel Eriksson-Ek, they're as important. Joel Eriksson-Ek is tall and big, win faceoffs, kill penalties, and then over the last 2 years, he's learned how to be a dynamic scoring forward. That took him a long time to get. He was more of a defensive player. So Nupfla is saying who's in net? Is it because we have Decord listed? But I guess if it's Grubauer bobblehead, they have called him up. Now Grubauer went down to the minors and he played okay. Still didn't have a 900 save percentage. It was like 898 in his few games in the minors. If he's here, I don't mind. Irish King on Minnesota money line. Mr. Tomatoes on Minnesota money line. I will only back the Minnesota Wild against the worst teams in the league with these injuries. And I consider the Bruins, a bottom third team in the NHL. One of the worst 10 teams in the NHL. Now that's without McAvoy, because they've already without Lindholm. I don't even care really about Marchand, although it does hurt them a bit. So here, look, I had the Kraken with enormous confidence against the Canucks. And I'm not going to have maybe the same amount of confidence against Minnesota Wild because they're, a well-coached team and they still have, Spurgeon and Faber on defense. But Minnesota can't score. They have one line that's dangerous. They can't score. And Seattle can score. And Seattle is more than capable of putting the puck in the net. This line opened up at minus 124. There was a move this morning, a pretty big move towards Minnesota, but it's come back. For those of you who like Minnesota, look, I get it. But without your best two forwards, your most important center and penalty killer and someone who brings size, you also have Hartman suspended, of course. I don't think that 8-gamer is over yet. I know it's been dropped 8 games. And then you have the Kraken who are in sell mode, but they're at home and they can beat this Wild team here. I think it's a great price on the Kraken. And the reason why we're getting it is because of the Wild's numbers on the road compared to the Kraken's numbers at home. In fact, other than the Avalanche puck line, which is a pretty nice spot, it might be the very best bet on the board in the NHL. It's Kraken winning tonight. So, and I'll think about that a little bit more. But I think it might be the very best bet on the board. Because, again, you're taking advantage of people who are looking at records. And if you're not watching the games, Minnesota can't score. Their goal against Boston was very lucky. Went off of what's-his-name's ass. It did. It went off what's-his-name's ass. They're getting no scoring chances because they're still playing their system, and now they don't have Kaprizov and Eriksson, and now they don't have Jonas Brodin.
Does their system suppress scoring on the other team?
It does.
It does, right?
Yeah.
So you wouldn't want to take Seattle team total over then?
No, it's just that I thought about doing that, but no, I just think that there is going to be a depth advantage at forward for the Kraken here. And I know we only have 17 games and we're going to move very quickly through college basketball and then NBA, but why don't we just touch on, this is a crucial game for us, especially at the time it's going to come on. It's going to be late at night when the need for victories is important. Look, Capo Caco is getting the opportunity to be a first-line center. I don't know if he's good enough, or first-line winger. I don't know if he's good enough. And Matty Beniers has been a little bit disappointing, but now Schwartz is back from injury. Then you have Oliver Bjorkstrand on right wing. Is getting paid $5 million a year, somewhere around there, but there's a lot of teams looking at him. as a pickup here at the trade deadline. Chandler Stevenson, I think, is the one that they should be looking at, but it's possible that the Kraken don't want to get rid of him, a two-line centerman with speed and size. You have Tolvanen on the second line. Jared McCann, Shane Wright, and Andrei Burakovsky on the third line. It's one of the best third lines in the NHL. And then you have Brandon Tanev and Eberle on the fourth line. We're talking about a very deep, deep group. Brandon Tanev is also a possible move at the deadline. You take Jonas Brodin off of the defense of the Minnesota Wild, and all of a sudden you could say Seattle's got a better defense than them. Now, that'd be very arguable, but Oleksiak is also up at the trade deadline, playing with Brandon Montour on the second line. You got Larson and Vince Dunn on the first line. So let's go over to this Minnesota Wild team very quickly here, who have this spectacular record, the spectacular road record. They picked up Gustav Nyquist, and they've moved him directly into the first line, because they have no scoring from other than that first line, nothing. So they think, you know what, we'll put Zuccarello on the second line with Freddie Gaudreau. Freddie Gaudreau, I believe it went off his ass against the Bruins. And you have Marcus Johansson. He shot the puck off of Gaudreau's ass. That's, now that you move Zuccarello there, it's a little better. But that's one of the worst second lines that might, arguably, that's a bottom 5 second line in the NHL. Gauntz, Hinostra, and Marcus Foligno on the third line. That's a weak third line. Lauko, Devon Shore, and Yakov Trenin. That's a weak fourth line. You have Spurgeon on the second defensive pair. You have Middleton and Faber on the first. Faber is one of the best defensemen in the NHL. But this is a weak, Wild team without Kaprizov and Eriksson Ek. So, Irish King saying Tanev is past his prime. I would pick. He's a playoff type forward. If I was in Germany, I'd want to pick up Tanev. Now, I'd want to give nothing for him. Give maybe a fifth rounder. But I'd want Tanev on my fourth line. He's got an edge to his play. He skates fast. He hits hard. He's got reckless abandon. And I believe in him. But that's it. We got to move on to college basketball. I'm on the Kraken. And I think at this price point, I think that might be the best bet on the board.
Okay, and I'll take him officially -1 plus 142.
Loshak on the -1 at plus 142. All right, let's review all action here. I love that you're rocking with me on that one. Let's review all action here in the National Hockey League. LJ from H-Town on the Predators team total under 2.5. Very interesting spot. I'm going to look harder at. We've left a lot of the early card alone. We left the first 2 games alone. Then Pete moves on the Wings team total over 2.5, -111 against the Hurricanes. The Jackets Lightning game is another spot that we left alone. My card starts with the Flyers -1 at plus 119. I'm very confident in that. Viper NB in the house. He's on the Lightning -1, Hurricanes -1, Jets -1. Excuse me, Stars -1, and the Pacers -3.5. I'm on the Jets -1, the Jets -1, the Stars -1, where bets that I felt forced to make, and I'm okay with that. It's hockey. Keep it simple, stupid. Loshak is on the over 5.5 in Winnipeg, New York Islanders. The Slatsy look on the Devils not to make the playoffs is extremely interesting. I may want this under 5.5. I'm going to study it more, but I expect to move with Slatsy on the Devils playoff. No, here. We have Stars -1 and -101 for me. Stars -1 and -101 for Peter, and the team total under 2.5 for the Devils. Sorry, I did that wrong here. So here we go. And then, and Wager Detective looking at the Stars to win the cup as well. So Devils team total under 2.5. Maybe that's the best bet, is just take the Devils team total under, even with this Smith in that. I'm going to need to study that a little bit more. I'm on the Avalanche -1.5. I've got interest in the over 6.5. Barry Smith backing that, backing the over 6.5 as well. I like it. I want it. Loshak on the Avalanche -1. Mel still riding Columbus Blue Jackets to make the playoffs plus 650. I get it. It's a great spot. I think your Flames playoffs is in jeopardy. They're just such a bad team, but there's an open spot there that they could easily still get. Then Pete is on the Ducks team total over 2.5 at plus 120 in the Ducks first period goal at -116. Kraken money line for me. Loshak -1 at plus 142 on the Kraken. And that is our NHL coverage for Tuesday, March 4th. Thank you guys for rocking with us. We now move into college basketball. Are you ready to switch gears, Pete?
Yeah.
Let's do that. So, Pete, give me 1 second to set up. I got to get all my college basketball set up. Okay, so for those of you guys who've missed it, because we can't cap, there's 44 games on the card. We can't cap them all. We're going to try to cap them all Wednesday and Friday. There's 31 each. Thursday, we're going to do the same thing we're doing today. So I went through every single one of these games, and I looked at the ones I wanted to bet, the ones I was close to betting, and then the ones that, and then I made a couple cuts on the ones I was close to betting. The ones of these 18 games that I haven't bet yet, the line was either moving against me or I felt like it would be prudent to talk it through with you guys. I've made 7 bets on this NCAA card, and I'm looking forward to cap this one with you guys. So first off, let's start here with our guy Stacks play of the day. He's on Iowa State minus 9.5 and Texas A&M plus 5.5. So that's Ron Crawford on Texas A&M, Justin McKelvey on Texas A&M, and BJ on Texas A&M. Fat win liking Air Force tonight. Spooner is on UTSA plus 9. That's his play today. I took a very close look at that. He's also on Albany moneyline plus 180, Texas A&M moneyline plus 185, New Mexico minus 1. We'll talk about the injuries for the Catamounts. Then we have Billy Friedrich on the other side. He's on the Auburn minus 4.5. Pig Milk play today, though, is TCU plus 3.5. And that gets us all set up here for this card. Let me move a couple things over to get us ready to go. Get rid of the injury report. Get the Action Network up here, Pete. Move it over to college basketball. It's there. So let me just move to all markets, which I don't know how much we're going to get, but we will see. Looks like we're going to get a lot, at least for the early games. Okay. And Jerry Davis also on Texas A&M. Rod Zawacki on the Ducks plus 1.5. Let's roll. Old E in the house. Shout out to our guy, Old E. And we start here, Pete. So I'm going to be setting these games up for you. We start with the UMass Lowell Riverhawks at the Maine Black Bears. I came very close to moving on UMass Lowell, and I expect to still move on them. 31% of the tickets and 17% of the cash is on them. 19% of the tickets and 15% of the cash. I would probably have already bet this, seeing that this line's moving towards them now. But I had my focus on NBA for the last couple hours of the cap today, because that's what we're rolling to after this, and that's what kept me off of some additions, and this being one of them. UMass Lowell right now is down to a 2. Now it's really a 2.5. The plus 2 is minus 102, but it's certainly moving in their direction. This opened up at 8:10 this morning offshore, but it was available all day yesterday at other books. When we get to the total here for this spot, we have a 144.5. It's opened up a 146.5. So we've dropped 2 points on the total. When we get to the cash flow for this spot, as I said, 31% of tickets and 17% of cash on UMass Lowell, and the line moving clearly in their direction. The same can be said about the money line. 19% of tickets and 15% of cash on UMass Lowell. 77 and 78 on the over, and it just dropped 2 points, which is a surprise and fascinating. When we get over to the situation here, UMass coming off a big home win versus Binghamton, which actually slowed me down. It really did slow me down on this spot here. Respect play today is in a VCU first half minus 4.5, minus 120. I'm going to copy and paste that right now. Wage Detective says Maine is 0-8 last 8 conference tournament games here. And these teams faced each other. They faced each other this year. UMass Lowell lost in overtime 86-85 at home versus Maine. And now they finish off the season at Maine. And I think that they can get Rebenga in this spot. I really feel like they can. The market is telling us that they're extremely live. The Maine Black Bears have had a really good season, and here they are, at home in this final game. Coming off a loss versus Bryant at home, I don't like fading teams off of a tight loss against the best team in the conference, but they've lost 4 or 5 basketball games. They're not playing very well. I think UMass Lowell Riverhawks are live here. Take it away, Pete. Because I didn't bet this one. Do you like it?
No, I'm watching the video here on YouTube, and I'm getting an ad. Holiday room still available at the JW Marriott in St. Martin, just in case you guys aren't seeing what I'm seeing. That'd be worth taking advantage of. Yeah, this one is I don't have anything that I'm particularly seeing. A buy isn't involved here. Seeding is, but I'm not sure how important that really is. Lowell obviously been good. ATS Maine has been slumping, so definitely I'd be leaning Lowell. Didn't bet it, and I'd be leaning over. Didn't bet that one either, though.
I expect to move on UMass Lowell after this show. I think that I've seen enough here. Let's roll on to game 2. I get why you're moving on the over, but I'm just going to stick with the Riverhawks. I'm going to move on them after the show. Our next spot on the board is staying in the American East Conference. We have the New Hampshire Wildcats, 8-22, 6-9 in the American East. At Bryant Bulldogs, 19-11, 3-2 in the American East. By Chase Athletic Center in Smithfield, Rhode Island. Rhode Island, the home of Nasty Nate. I want New Hampshire here. Bryant has no reason to do anything in this basketball game, but I felt very hesitant to make the move. It also wasn't available for me to bet when I wanted to move on them. It has moved that. It hasn't really moved a half point. It's gone from 18.5 to 18, but that 18.5 is minus 118 on Bryant. This opened up at 8.10 this morning at minus 18.5 for Bryant. Then it got up to 19.5. Now we're back at 18. I just don't understand. Okay, this line is too big, which obviously I wanted to talk it out with you guys. I didn't understand why it was so big. This total is at 151 is juiced towards the under. You have Bryant coming, off. They've won 4 of their last 5. New Hampshire coming off a loss at home to Maine, but they went to Albany and beat them, and Albany's playing much better basketball. They also beat the Riverhawks. This is a New Hampshire team that's pretty good. I know they went through a massive losing streak a couple times earlier in the season, got off to a terrible start in conference. They lost by 19 points at home versus Bryant. Now they're at Bryant. We have another 18.5 or 19. I want New Hampshire, but is this such a big number that it's like drawing you in? Is this a mistake for me to back? Let's take a look at the cash flow. We have 14% of the tickets and 10% of the cash on New Hampshire. 90% of tickets, 90% cash on the over. Take it away for us here, Pete. Is this some sort of a trap with this big of a line? New Hampshire Wildcats at Bryant Bulldogs.
Yeah, I mean, games like these, unless you have some kind of spoons bets, like deep understanding or information of these teams, if you do, then there can be great value. But without that, it's very hard to estimate the motivation of both teams. Yeah, Bryant doesn't really have anything to play for, but neither does New Hampshire, really, I believe. And in general, New Hampshire was a bit undervalued during the year, and I was betting them, full game, first half, second half, whatever, in various spots. I think I did have them in their Vermont game where they got beat down. And yeah, I mean, Bryant, they I think that they don't have the 1 seed locked up, but they just need to win. And, it's not, I guess that just means that if they wind up playing Vermont head to head, they'll get the home court advantage. But free bet, sure, I'd throw it on New Hampshire just because it's probably easier to fix a bet on New Hampshire than a bet on Bryant. So, I don't know. Definitely free bet would be New Hampshire, but I didn't bet it.
Yeah, I think this is New Hampshire full game. I mean, you never want to make a bet where you're looking for a backdoor cover, but I just see what other people have to say about that. There's our guy Markel in the house, and Spooner says this game will be a conference championship clinching party from start to finish.
There you go. And New Hampshire is good when they are motivated. They can definitely be a great bet as a big dog getting too many points, but this is probably not that kind of a spot, so.
Let's roll on. Let's roll on to our next spot. I think I may add New Hampshire to my action. Head over to the SEC for our next game on the board. This was this was going to be on the show. And then I was like, you know what? These not very good teams in the SEC. It's such a coin flip. But I kept getting more and more of an indication that the Gamecocks were really live here and decided that not only should it be on the show, I should probably bet the South Carolina Gamecocks here at their home at Colonial Life Arena in Columbia, South Carolina, facing the Bulldogs, who are 18-11, but just 6-10 in the SEC. The reason why I didn't want to do this is the Bulldogs are getting better, but then you could say the same thing about the Gamecocks. Both teams are getting better as the season goes on. We watched Georgia beat Florida at home 88-83, then go into Texas and beat them 83-67. And all I wanted to do was back Georgia when I first looked at this, but then the market kept bringing me back here to the Gamecocks. Now, if we look at the last few games of the Gamecocks, there's a lot of bad ones, but they all came on the road. They didn't really come at home. Their last game at home on Saturday, they beat Arkansas by 19. The game before that, at home, they beat Texas by 15. Before that, they lose to Ole Miss by 4. Home game before that, they lose to Texas A&M by 4. The home game before that, they lose to Mississippi State in overtime by 5. Then they lose to Florida by 1. Then they lose to Auburn by 3. You have to go back to January 8th for them to lose a game, by margin. And that was at home to Alabama. So the more I sat with it, the more I was like, I guess I should just bet South Carolina. South Carolina lost at Georgia 71-60, so that also kind of works in the favor here. Wine Time Sports looking at South Carolina, Justin McKelvey on South Carolina. So I want to now bet. Well, I'm okay with flipping. I've got over that. I've got over that. We watched it work last Tuesday with Pete. I had a great show last Tuesday. I just messed it all up on Wednesday and Thursday. I had a big winning day with Pete on Tuesday. I've been running very hot on the show, and I won another day like that today. The total opened up at 137. It's now 138, and we get to the point spread here. For this one, we have South Carolina now a dog. Interesting. So they've gone from favorite to dog, -1, -110 to -1 at +111. I guess that's not comforting here. Chris Warren on Georgia money line. And we get to the cash flow for this spot. You have 93% of tickets and 98% cash on Georgia. 93 and 98. Good God. On the money line, 44% of tickets and 86% cash. So the big bets are there as well. 79 and 80 on the over. Take it away, Pete. Georgia Bulldogs, South Carolina Gamecocks.
Well, I'm definitely going to pass on this one. I mean, South Carolina. I had them against Arkansas. The Texas win was impressive. Texas A&M cover, impressive. South Carolina, decent team at home. But Georgia, same kind of team, can be impressive. And the Texas win was great. They beat Florida. So just a pass. Maybe I'll do something live or at the half, but pregame, nothing. Don't really see anything.
Okay, just setting up respect play today from our guy, Rez Mob. He's on VCU first half. I am on Duquesne full game, but we'll be going over that in a little bit. Okay, I've only become more confident in the 3 spots that I was looking to bet. So I expect to move on all 3 of them at this point. Let's move on the next spot on the board, and that is Jose's UTSA Roadrunners, 11-17, 5-11 in the American, hosting the Memphis Tigers, 16th ranked Memphis Tigers, 24-5, 14-2 in the American. DC Cap are also going to move on South Carolina. Let's set this one up here. And I wanted UTSA. So we've heard from Spooner that UTSA is his play of the day, these UTSA Roadrunners. And that was my thought too. It was just that the market wasn't going towards them. So I didn't feel that. I thought, you know what, if this is a lean, let's talk it out with the squad and see if the trigger should be pulled. These Memphis Tigers coming off an 88-81 win at UAB. They're a game up on North Texas right now. UTSA coming off a huge win over Rice. I don't like that from a betting standpoint, really. 84-56, just a smash and grab. Kind of turned me off of the spot. Now, Memphis has not been very good on the road. Let's go over their last few games. They beat UAB by 7. Their road game before that at Wichita State, they lose by 5 in overtime. The game before that, they beat South Florida by 15. The game before that, they barely squeezed by Rice by 3. Before that, their road game, they get by Tulane by 8. Before that, they get by Charlotte by 9. Before that, they lose straight up against Temple by 7. I mean, they just haven't been very good in this position. They haven't played UTSA this year, so we don't have, Rebenga to kind of touch on. This is the first one where I'm starting to get a little cold feet. Wine Time saying I backed UTSA Sunday cashed. I'll take it and run from this game. We got my guy Robert Cherry in the house. Great to see you, my man. Let's get into the line history here for this Memphis spot. We have Memphis -8.5 right now, -112. So there's been 4 cents of movement. This offshore, the sharpest offshore there is, has not moved it off that 8.5. When we get to the total here, we have a 158. It's juiced to the over at -120. It has had a 10-cent move to the over. That's all that's happened is just the 10-cent move. DJ Big Boss in the house says labeling Memphis is fake going into the tourney. Our guy, Big Boss in the house. Peter, only good friends.
Wow, look at that. Labeling Memphis as fake going into the tourney.
Only good friends send you pictures like this. And that was a picture sent to me by DJ Big Boss. And just a lot of respect. I have a lot of respect for this man here. And not saying that woman was a man. I'm talking about DJ Big Boss. 92% of tickets, 97% of cash on Memphis. It's ridiculous. 93 and 92 on the over. Take it away. And only best friend says Man Bear Pig. That's right. Take it away for us here, Pete. I'd like to back UTSA. I think I'm pretty comfortable doing it. Let me just check one last thing before I hand it over to Pete. Let's go over to the site where we used to play poker at here. By the way, our poker game in San Antonio is going to be so much fun. Ace Card Club. We're also going to be shooting a full live stream there as well. And we have mics moving around watching the game. It's going to be extremely, extremely fun. And fun, I think, for the viewers too here. Let's see what our poker site has done. They have UTSA +9. They opened this up at 10. This went to 9.5 and 8.5, and then back up to 9. Take it away, Pete. Are you interested in UTSA as well?
Yeah, I mean, when I don't know about play of the day, it was definitely play of the half hour. Like when I saw this game, I hadn't seen a play that good in like at least 30 minutes. Play of the day, that's a little scary. But then DJ Big Boss comes in with his Memphis as fake heading into the tournament. He's obviously seeing some. I mean, they're definitely going to get a lot of respect on their spreads. So overvalued, sure. Fake, that was a pretty good win against UAB. You know what I mean? And they lost to Wichita, but Wichita I think is undervalued. They play tough defense. This is, when a team is getting repeated margin wins and covers on the road, that's eye-opening. You know what I mean? Tulane, Florida, UAB. So I don't know. Free bet, I'd throw it on UTSA, and I might bet it, but it's scary to fade Memphis here.
Mr. Tomato says no more than 5 people in the chat watch more than one UTSA game. I unfortunately watched UTSA last week. I had them full game. So did Spooner at home against South Florida. And they were up 11 going into the second half. And that's the reason why I'm not on them. I have the bias of watching them get outscored by 16 in the second half of that basketball game. If I didn't watch that happen, I would be on UTSA here.
Wait a minute. Sorry. DJ Big Boss meant the NCAA tournament, not the conference tournament. That's a good point. Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
No,
I thought he meant going to the conference tournament. Yes.
But that's the reason why I'm not on them.
Right.
Because I couldn't believe my eyes when they let the Bulls back in that game. Not only back in the game, but they shot 33.8 from the field, turned the ball over 16 times and got out rebounded. It was as frustrating as you could imagine. They were up 18 points, Pete, with 9 minutes and 55 seconds left. Oh God, it was just like I couldn't walk. I feel that sickness in my stomach. If I didn't watch that, I would be on them. Nutflush says I don't trust UTSA, but in spots I definitely trust the team total over. Mr. Tomato says Memphis rolls here. My thought then would take UTSA first half, but that's just only because of what I just saw. That's why I just keep pushing everybody towards the Undoing Project, so you can understand when your subconscious fucking with you. And it's doing that here. Pete, take over, and then we can move on.
Yeah, no, I mean, free play, I would throw it on UTSA, but it's scary to fade Memphis in this spot, and it's going to be a pass for me.
Oh, I love that Man Bear Pig Chapter 1 Man Boobs. Isn't that just that's the single greatest chapter of any book I've ever read in my life? That's the only chapter that's about sports in that book. Man Boobs, it was just phenomenal. Like I just get flashes back nonstop of all that stuff. And Spooner says, yes, forget what your eyes have seen. He says, I couldn't bet every team who's blowing the lead. I wouldn't be able to bet basketball anymore. Look, I get it. I'm just telling you, I need to say things out loud so that I'm consciously aware that my subconscious is fucking with me. I'm not sure what to do with UTSA. I'm going to have to sit with this longer. Let's move on.
No, you're right. And Big Boss, like if Memphis wins the conference tournament and rolls in every game, then they might be really overvalued heading into the NCAA tournament.
I still think they can be dangerous in the tournament.
I
think they can be dangerous. I think they can be dangerous in the tournament. They have the upper echelon talent, And so at this age, you can get the high talent not show up sometimes against smaller schools
Sure.
on the road. But when all lights are on them,
Right.
I'm not saying that I want them as a big favorite or a double-digit favorite or anything like that. And I can't wait to be sitting with you guys in San Antonio and talking all this over. Okay, let's roll on, Pete, to the next spot on the board. Head over to the Big Ten. So I wanted Rutgers. Rutgers is just improving and improving and improving. You guys knew last time we saw each other, I was bullish on Purdue against UCLA. Bullish. They'd lost 4 straight. It was the absolute perfect spot to back them, in my estimation, here. Not here, against UCLA. So now they get the relief, snapping their losing streak, getting a big win, going up against a Rutgers team that had their 2-game winning streak snapped. I wasn't sure what to make of that overtime win at Washington. Obviously, their freshmen looked spectacular. But then they beat USC at home, and I bet against them first half. That blew up in my face. They played Michigan tough, 84-82. Why wouldn't these freshmen be getting better and better as the season goes on? Isn't that what's supposed to happen with, elite young talent? That now they can win on the road, that now they start rolling here? Now they lost badly by 18 at home against Purdue, which also made me more interested in backing the Scarlet Knights here. But the market didn't make it any more appealing here. Billy Friedrich says senior night Purdue rolls. Now that's another thing. Why? Because Caleb Hurst, because they have one senior on their basketball team. So why would that matter? One senior who barely plays? So I went over that, Billy. I went over seniors night, and I was like, who cares? Who cares? One senior that doesn't play? Let's get into the line history here. Well, I should say doesn't play, but barely plays. He's a cheerleader. But obviously this line's moving towards Purdue. They're minus 11 and minus 111. Maybe that's enough just to get me off of the game. It feels like the kind of spread that's coaxing people into backing the Scarlet Knights, especially with a bias as to what they've seen. We'll go over the cash flow here in a second. Then when we get to the total, it's a 152.5. It's minus 113 for the under. This opened up in the afternoon at 156. At 7:23 p.m., it opened up at 154. So this is still dropped a 1.5. And when we get to the cash flow here, give me a second. Sorry, I should have. Here we go. Cash flow here. 57% of tickets and 76% of cash is on Purdue. 16.58 on the over. I can let this one go. Take it away, Pete. I'm all ears. Scarlet Knights, Boilermakers, Mackey Arena.
Well, I think I'm going to make Rutgers first half one of my official plays here. And, in college basketball, there's a lot of stuff where, you look at something, you make your breakdown, and you may have an edge or a nice edge overall, but there are going to be lots of individual games where you lose by 20. So I'm going to take Rutgers first half. They could easily be down by 20 at the half. It's just that, you're right. Rutgers, that was a tough loss at Michigan in their last game. And the question is, because they were up and then they blew it late. So how do they bounce? Does that demoralize them? Does it deflate them? And they come out here and they're down by 25 at the half? That's entirely possible. Or, do they go into the half and they're up by 1 or down by 1? I'm gonna take a shot with Rutgers first half. And if it loses by 25, I'm not going to be shocked. But I'll make it an official play. First half, I'll take +6 minus 101.
I get it. Rutgers first half +6, minus 101. Billy Friedrich bidding us adieu. We do have his action here that we'll be talking about, pig milk and other stuff that he's on. Thank you for always sharing it with us, Billy, my man. All right. And Sir Mackey in the house gifting a Pub Sport Radio membership. Thank you, Sir Mackey. God, it's going to be a hard one to figure out. I don't know. I'm going to need some more time. Twizzlist? I got to work on it. But thank you for sharing that. Pub Sports Radio membership, Sir Mackey, my man.
Actually, Jim, I see 6.5 minus 111. I'll take that.
Yeah, makes sense. +6.5.
Minus 111.
Minus 111. Spooner says, I have too much bias to move in this game. I hate Purdue and I like Rutgers. This could only be a Rutgers spot for me. Painter isn't a better coach than Pickle and doesn't have the better talent. Let's roll on. Let's head over to a spot that I've bet. And I knew I was going to bet it. And I was waiting for the first half lines to drop. I waited. As soon as they dropped and they weren't available offshore, and I was like, okay, well, I hope 365 is going to give me a better line than what we're going to see at the show offshore. And I haven't double checked. It's just too many games, too much to cap, so I haven't double checked. I moved on Kentucky first half, minus 6.5, minus 115. As soon as it was available, I shot the Lucky Power in the house. As soon as it was available, I got 6.5 minus 115. It was 12.5 at the full game. I didn't move on the full game, although I liked it. I just thought, losing at home to Auburn with all eyes on them by 16 points will have them ready to come out firing against an LSU team that's lost 3 straight, is playing hard on the road. They played hard at Mississippi State. They played hard at Oklahoma. They're playing hard, but it's just an angry Kentucky team that I thought was just going to be shot out of a cannon. So I moved on Kentucky first half. Minus 6.5, minus 115. We have these teams haven't played against each other this year, so there's no Rebenga or anything of the sort. Pickle works, Spooner. Pickle works fine. Thought you knew his nickname. Oh, Pickle. Here, let's get into the totals at 156.5, minus 113 to the over. This opened up at 156.7.5 and has dropped to 156.5. And then when we get to the point spread here, we have a Kentucky now minus 13.5. I like seeing that. That's moved from 12.5, 13 to 13.5. You could still have got a 12.5 at 9:54 this morning. And then when we go to the first half, this is where I want to see badly a move, obviously, because I'm not doubling up. It's just a one bet for me. And yes, an 8, Pete. And see, this is what I've been doing here. I've been trusting my edges and angles and not waiting for the offshore to come out. And if they opened this up at minus 7, I got the 6.5. It's now an 8. That makes me feel very good. The lipstick play, does Maine count as a lipstick play? I mean, are you you're on the favorite, Lex? But I will still copy and paste that. Bet this guy on the under 157.5. Take it away, Pete. What are your thoughts on my look Kentucky first half?
Yeah, that reminds me. Last week I had 2 plays where I shocked the world with a minus 115 call on a bet with odds of minus 115. Shocked the world, and it cashed. Yeah, this one is. I hope you cash it. I understand it. It's just that, when you're doing stuff like what you're doing, I like to do that with teams that have been a little bit more elite than what we've seen from Kentucky this year. Kentucky should have come back and won that second half against Auburn, and they didn't. And they're a fine team, but they're not the kind of elite or near elite team that makes me comfortable when I'm betting. And again, like you said, LSU scrappy. They're tough. They're getting big dog lines on the road, which is understandable. But they're if Kentucky was playing some sort of bad team that's still overvalued and just completely psychologically messed up, then I feel better about it. But laying that many points to LSU on the road in this spot is understandable, but make me very nervous. And I hope you cash. I'm off this game.
Let's roll on. This is our next spot. Is our first conference tournament game. I've skipped a few of them. I just didn't. We can't be on here forever. And I wanted to talk about games that we wanted to bet. And this one I want to bet, but you talk about if you're going to take a team to win by margin, they better be an elite team. And certainly the Northern Kentucky Norths are not an elite team. But we've got to the Horizon League Championship. Another thing that kind of gave me pause is why would they show too much against the Detroit Mercy Titans squad? I went back and forth, on this bet, and I haven't bet it. But I want the North here. Sorry, I screwed this up. Let's get this all set up here and get into the line history. They're huge favorites, against the real weak Detroit Mercy squad. And despite this being, a Horizon League, conference game, it's not a neutral court. They're playing in Highland Heights. They've won 4 straight. I mean, they're clearly playing better basketball, but look, they didn't look good against IUPUI. They looked great against Purdue Fort Wayne, kind of establishing how good they are. They look great at home against Youngstown State. And now they play a Detroit Mercy team, lost at Milwaukee by 22, lost to Gottlieb in Phoenix, 76-71. They lost at home. They're just a pack of losers. But still, are the Norse elite enough to cover such a big spread? They went to Detroit Mercy, and it was a kind of a tough game. They won by 11. It wasn't like a real easy spot. Earlier in the year, they won at home December 18th against Detroit Mercy by 13. It hasn't been too easy here. Mr. Tomato says Highland Heights, home of Wesley Snipes. I did get to hang out with Wesley Snipes for a night. He was shooting whatever the Dracula movie was when I was shooting Underclassmen, and my basketball coach for the movie was friends with him from LA, and we went to his rented house. And I don't like telling the story. I don't mean to name drop or anything like that, but I tell this story.
Drop. I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, I tell the story because
top 5 favorite famous people.
He was the most gracious guy. When I was talking about, like, I was making jokes about how bad I was at basketball training, but he was like letting me talk. Like he was letting me have the moment. And he was adding to it, and he was so gracious and kind, and giving me an opportunity to try to be funny. Besides, like him, he was so funny. I left thinking, what a class act.
Yeah.
What a great guy. He was like, everybody loved him. He was just, so I was blown away at how cool he was, but also how gracious he was, letting other people have the limelight in the moment. Like, what an incredible guy. One night I got to hang out with him, and he was as cool as any famous person I've ever met in my life. That's how cool he was. Here, Pete, I want the Norse, but I don't know if they're too big of a favorite. Let's talk about the line history here for this one. And I would like to hear from Spooner. I mean, are you really going to – you don't want to show too much here against such a weak squad. But let's get into the line history. It's a 14 now, and it's juiced to them. I missed my spot. This was 12.5. This didn't open up here till 11 a.m. It's crazy. And it immediately is just firing towards the Norse. I've missed my spot. This is something I could have got at 12.5 at 365. I guess I should have. I was nervous enough to wanting to talk it out. This total's at 138.5. It's minus 114 to the over. It dropped from 139.5 to 138.5. And when we get to the cash flow here, we're not getting any because it's newly available. Take it away, Pete, for us. Horizon League Championship first round, Titans, Norse, and Highland Heights.
Yeah, I mean, this is a classic opening game in a conference tournament. Northern Kentucky should roll. They might be up by, 15 or 20 and at the half, and you might think that you left money on the table. I think the odds are roughly correct. Northern Kentucky will win this game 90% of the time, 10% of the time out of nowhere. Detroit will be up at the half and then pull out the win. So pass for me. Free play, I'd chuck it on first half under, but I wouldn't bet that either.
Yeah, I didn't know what the movie was named. I look if there's vampires or dragons or shit, get me the fuck out of there. I don't have time to play imagination games, so I didn't watch the movie. I was wrong. Sorry, when I was just going too fast. Spooner's right. Detroit Mercy won. The Norse won at home against Detroit Mercy on December 18th, but they lost at Detroit Mercy by 11 on January 30th. It's too late. It's too late. I'm not going to move on it now at 14, so it's too late. Let's talk about a bet that I did make. And God, I'm so nervous to look at these line moves here. I moved on the Hokies. I moved on Virginia Tech at home. I moved on them last night. The five full game bets I made last night, the 2 first halves, I waited until this morning when they were available. I'm on the Hokies here, +8. I got them +8 at minus 110. This was 365 as well. All these bets. So I had a book that doesn't care about beating other books. They make enough money. They don't care. They give you bad lines. The Hokies coming off that overtime victory at home against Syracuse. This is their 3rd straight home game. I like that. I also like fading North Carolina after they've won 4 straight games by margin, 4 straight games by double. They've won more than 4 straight, but they've won 4 straight by double digits, coming off beating down the worst team in the conference, the Hurricanes. I think that can make you a little sloppy, a little fat. and happy. These teams haven't played each other this year, so there's no Rebenga. Let's get into the line history here for this one from a total side of things. Sorry, let me move over here to the Hokie spot. God, sorry, it's too many games. From a total side of things, we have a 148. This opened up at 149.5. Interestingly enough, this got up to 151 at 7:41 this morning. So it's dropped 3 points from that spot. That's a big drop. And then let's get into the spread here from a point spread scenario. We'll pull up the cash flow as well. From a point spread scenario, this is still an 8. So there's been no movement. It did move to 8.5. I'm happy it's not there. It's an 8. There's been a 2-cent move towards the Tar Heels. And when we get to the cash flow for this spot, Pete, we have just 38% of tickets and 37% of cash on Virginia Tech, 64 and 64 on the over. I'm pretty comfortable in this spot, but Chris Warren on the other side and JW on the other side as well. But I like this spot. It correlates completely to everything that I'm looking for in a bet, and I moved on him. Pete, Hokies +8. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I'd be leaning Virginia Tech first half and full game, but makes me nervous. Definitely didn't bet it. Maybe I'm leaving money on the table. I'll be monitoring it live and at the half, but sure, lean Virginia Tech. I mean, UNC is significantly better, but the line in the spot, probably a little bit of value for Virginia Tech, but I didn't bet it. So
everybody in the chat on North Carolina, well, nobody saying that they're on Virginia Tech. How about I say that? JW on North Carolina, Chris Warren on North Carolina, Mr. Tomatoes on North Carolina. I bet this guy is on the over. He got it at 149.5. And he's also on Northern Kentucky -13. I probably should have moved on that spot, but it's done. Let's roll. By the way, Spooner saying that I shouldn't be insinuating that dragons aren't real. I should have said flying dragons. My apologies. Flying dragons. Let's roll on. St. Louis Billiken 17-12, 10-6 in the A-10 of the Dayton Flyers, 29-10-6 in the A-10 as well. We're at UD Arena in Dayton, Ohio. I wanted Dayton. I was hesitant to move on it. The Billikens coming off the reason why I held off is they've obviously been looking very strong over the last few games. Their last road game against Davidson, winning by a point, didn't matter to me. They've been very, very strong at home. They haven't been strong on the road. Look, Dayton needed everything to get by the Spiders at home. They didn't look good against Duquesne at home in their last game either. So there was some legit reasons for me to kind of stay off of this spot, Pete, but I certainly wanted to move on Dayton. They've played once this year, January 31st. St. Louis lost to Dayton at home, 71-63. So I don't love that here. Mr. Tomato, and Wager Detective with me on Virginia Tech here. And Mr. Tomato on St. Louis and a twinkle on the money line says it's March and St. Louis shows up. Let's take a look at this line history. We have, I can't wait till we get into 8 p.m. games. I'll be able to move much faster. We're almost there. We have Dayton -6 at -108. It just moved to 6.5 2 minutes ago. So that's the first sign of a movement towards the Flyers. This total is a 144.5. It's heavily juiced to the over. I don't see 145s out there. This moved like 10 cents to the over early this morning. So, but the other books have not moved. Then we'll get into the cash flow here. JW says a Dayton -6. It's telling you. I just wish they hadn't won the first meeting. If they hadn't, I would already have betted. I think that's what kind of stalled me. When we get to the cash flow, I imagine we're going to get information here. We are. It's a public spot. 67% of the tickets on Dayton, just 50% of the cash. 77 and 78 on the over. Take it away, Pete. Any interest in this A-10 spot?
Yeah, I mean, another classic college basketball spot where I feel like overall I have an edge, but, obviously take lots of losses and 25% of my bets lose by double digits. I'm going to take St. Louis first half +4 -114. St. Louis first half +4, -114. Dayton, of course, all over the page in terms of, they're just very, very high volatility. Sometimes they're getting margin wins on the road. Sometimes they're squeaking by crappy teams at home, like the Richmond game. So any result from Dayton, especially first half, would not shock me. But I'm going to take, I'll have a little bit on the money line as well. And if Dayton's up by 20 at the half, I will not be surprised. Might be a wrong bet anyway, but St. Louis first half, +4, -114.
What was the juice, my man?
-114.
-114. Okay. You're locked in. I'm not sure if I pulled the trigger, but DC Capper on Dayton as well. Bet the sky on the other side with St. Louis. But we just finally got that half-point move. It is a public spot, so it doesn't make it as appealing watching the market move. But let's roll on, Pete. Next spot on the board, we've reached the respect play of the day. It's VCU Rams, first half -4.5, -120. We're at UPMC Cooper Fieldhouse in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, 15 minutes away from our guy Justin McKelvey, home of the Duquesne Dukes, who are hosting the VCU Rams. Dukes just 8-8 in conference. Look, maybe I should not back the Dukes after smashing George Mason at home. If I had have sat with that longer, maybe I'm off. But I just feel like the Dukes are playing so much better right now. Why can't they keep this within double digits? And maybe that was a mistake. Also, these teams haven't seen each other this year. So I thought that kind of helped the dog a little bit. And maybe that was misguided. Let's go into the line history here. This is, I think, our last 7 p.m. Oh, no, we still have more 7 p.m. games now. Okay, let's get into the line history here. This total is at 135.5. It is heavily juiced towards the under. This opened up at 136, and it got up to 137 before it started, flying down. From a point spread perspective, we have Duquesne now +10. Damn it. It opened up at 9.5. It moved to 10.5 when the show started. It's back at 10. I don't like that. And when we get to the cash flow, hopefully this will give me a calm. It doesn't. Bigger bets are on the Rams. 45% of tickets, 74% of cash on VCU, 90 and 90 on the over. I'm concerned here, nervous. Take it away for us here, Pistol. Cooper Fieldhouse, Dukes hosting the Rams.
Yeah, I don't really like, betting games where there's two teams at this point in the year that have both been great ATS and that I've been betting on more, usually more often than not. I faded VCU first half with Richmond last Tuesday and got a loss with that. VCU is obviously great. Duquesne is obviously the real deal as far as ATS value right now is concerned. So just going to be a pass for me. It is interesting that it's this big of a line and has moved even higher on VCU, but I'm going to pass.
Yeah, this makes me very nervous. There's our guy Todd Clinton in the house. Says 3 straight weeks Fat Wally's fat wallets. Do you know that, Pistol? And you get to hang out with Wally, of course, in San Antonio. But Fat Wally is cashed in NASCAR and put it in our chat 3 weeks in a row.
Jeez.
Cashed the winner 3 weeks in a row. Says be tuned in on Friday for his next pick, and says thanks, Fat Wally. Shout out to our guy Fat Wally, and a lot of us will get a chance to hang out with him in person. He's so quality, such a great guy, man. And J Dub is on Duquesne with me, which makes me a little more comfort. Gives me a little more comfort. Let's roll on, Pete. The next spot on the board is Bowling Green Falcons. We head over to the MAC, 13-6, 7-9 in conference, going up against the Northern Illinois Huskies, 5-24, 1-15 in the MAC. We're in DeKalb, NIU Convocation Center. And I want NIU. But I was going to wait here. Look, Bowling Green's rolling. They're absolutely rolling. I just thought it was a very fishy line. And then the fishy line, I didn't want to necessarily bet the fishy line, alone, but it was very fishy. Bowling Green didn't have an easy time beating Northern Illinois in their first meetup, 84-77 at home. It was not easy for them. They're playing good basketball right now, the Falcons, so why would the line be so small? Talking about NIU. This is seniors night for the Huskies. And I was interested in backing them. Let's get the line history up here for this MAC spot. We have right now on the spread NIU. God, sorry about this. Here we go. Is +4 at -109. Fishy. And it hasn't moved. This was available from 7:20 p.m. last night. It's moved a cent or two. It certainly makes NIU appealing. In these spots here, I've had much better success when the line doesn't make any sense, backing a team first half, especially when it's just 4 points. I mean, NIU could be winning this whole game, and Bowling Green can cover a 4-point, with a 3 and a foul late, or a missed 3 from the Huskies and a foul, and next thing you know, they lose by 5. And from a total standpoint here, we have a 142.5. It's -113 to the under. This opened up at 143.5, got up to 145.5, then dropped to 142.5. And when we get to the cash flow for this Maction, come on, sorry. We have taking me too long to find it. I will give up in 8 seconds. If I don't find this in 8 seconds, I will give up. Here we go. Just 32% of the tickets and 32% of the cash on Northern Illinois. 87 and 78 on the over. Bet this guy says this game is a pass. Lines are sharp. Take it away for us here, Pete. What do you think of moving on the Huskies on senior night in a very fishy number? 1 and 15 in conference play against team that's 7 and 9, 5 and 24 overall against team that's 13 and 16, and yet they're just 4-point dogs.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to pass. This is the same as the other game. Both these teams have been generally undervalued and pretty good bets. I don't want to fade either one of them. And Northern Illinois, yeah, they are disqualified from the tournament. So this is their Super Bowl or whatever. But Bowling Green is also playing to avoid the bottom 4. So they can, I mean, I'm assuming that Bowling Green wants to make the conference tournament. And the bottom 4 don't make the tournament. And Bowling Green is, battling with Ball State, at least, and maybe 2 others to avoid being the last team eliminated. So this is a pass for me.
Yeah, I can understand that. Maybe I just stay off as well. After I talked about it before handing it over to you, I filled it with asterisks, which means go bet it. But I've stopped now. I will let it go. But I've already bet this one. And this was hard to press the button. I'm on the Toledo Rockets, Pete, +5. Got +5 at -110. This was the only bet of the last night bets that I used. I did use offshore. I didn't send it in. I got 5 cents cheaper. This was +5 -115 over at 365. I got it for -110. Toledo's lost 3 straight games, and that was just a complete embarrassment at Buffalo. 87-74. That was a complete embarrassment at Kent State. I mean, I'm trying to catch a falling knife here. Those were 2 horrific road performances, and now they come back home. Akron expended a lot of energy to defeat Kent State, and now there's nothing to play for. They've clinched number 1 in the conference. I mean, what do they care? They should be faded here versus Toledo, and they should be faded at home against Buffalo on Friday. I imagine this should just be a fade. They had a tough time beating Toledo in their lone meeting, beat them by 7 at home. Yep, Toledo, if everything correlates here, I'm going to add the first half. I just feel like Toledo has to come out firing, has to prove something against an Akron team that has just no reason to care. This total opened up at 164. It's still at 164, but it's juiced pretty heavy to the under. And then on the spread, we have Toledo now +4.5, -109. So it's moved a half point. It moved about an hour and a half ago. Just feels like a spot where they fire. Mr. Tomatoes on Toledo first half. JR, I'll have to take a look at that. After the NHL card, I was leaning towards the Kraken, honestly, for risk reward, but probably the Avalanche on the puck line. Avalanche -1.5. I think that's probably the best spot. Avalanche on the puck line. Also, if Pittsburgh scores first, you just immediately bet Colorado Avalanche. And don't think about it. That's cost me over last week thinking maybe I should do this, and then it's off the board because your team scores. Cash flow here in this Toledo spot, Pete. And then this is our last 7 p.m. game, so we're getting close to being done. The college basketball card here. We have just 6% of the tickets, 34% of cash on Toledo, 72 and 71 on the over. And Spooner says there's reason to care. Is it's Toledo. Coach K is a Hall of Famer. Any chance to get a win versus Toledo? A good coach in the MAC won't be slept on. And JW says Bowling Green, I'm not falling for it. Better team playing for something. I get that. What are your thoughts here, Pete? I'm thinking of adding Toledo first half here.
Yeah, I mean, your overall take on this game, I think, is a good way to take it. But I think you will find that it's not nearly the slam dunk that it might seem. A team like, especially when you're talking about an elite team like Akron has literally nothing to play for. But then sometimes they just somehow show up and play their hearts out anyway for various reasons, sometimes for no reason. I'm not saying it's not a good angle because it is, but it's definitely not like the slam dunk. This is just like off the charts, 80% proposition. They clinched the top seed. They have nothing to play for, and then now they're a big road favorite here against a team that, and especially when it's a team like Toledo that's actually been bad ATS recently. Like if they were going up against like a bad team that had been very good ATS leading up to this game, I'd be a lot more likely to take the bad team. But Toledo's been overvalued, so. Free play. I would throw it on Toledo or first half or something like that, but I'm not going to bet this game. I'll tell you that.
Let's roll on. This affected me last night. I wonder if they fixed it. I don't think they have. I couldn't get line history on this game, our next spot last night, from the site that I use. I could switch now, but I figured it would be up. It's not up. So I can't give any line history here, but I can go to my book. I know where I obviously bet it. So our next spot on the board is IU Indy at Wright State. I really felt like I was taking advantage of what we just saw between these two teams because now we're in the Horizon League Championship, first round. And I took Wright State first half to take care of business here. I got a -4.5. The full game's 9 right now, and the first half's 5, so it's moved a half point in my direction. Nice, man. The O'Connell Lodge, Sweaty Butcher. We've had a ton of cappers stay there. A ton of cappers, and you're right by the Alamo Dome and things like that. It's a good spot and good price, so I dig it, Sweaty Butcher. And it's like halfway between the airport and Southtown 101, and that'll work for you. So I can't get into any line history here. We do know that it's moved a half point. We're going to get no cash flow because it's a tournament game. No information from the cash flow or anything like that. So all I can tell you here is that these teams just met. It was a meaningless basketball game, and I've been on IU Indy. I've worked. They've worked for me. I'm 2-0 backing IU Indy. I backed them after they get embarrassed, and they seem to play pretty well. And here in this spot, we have IU Indy playing Wright State. Wright State's the clear better basketball team, and IU Indy just beat them at home, 91-84, 3 days ago. This is perfect. We know what Wright State can do. They just beat Cleveland State, who are 14-6. They beat them at home. So they went to IU Indy and didn't care. Who cares? We're at the Nutter Center. We're at home. And I think that the fact that IU Indy just beat them in a game where Wright State didn't care is the perfect gambling opportunity to back Wright State here. Absolutely perfect. They're going to switch it up, flip it up. Now, yes, wager detector. I think it's a smash and grab. Not enough for me to put 2 units on it, but DC Capper on the other side with IU Indy. I think that win is of extremely artificial fake victory here. Take it away, Pete. Horizon League Championship first round, Jaguars, Raiders.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, and I would probably be leaning Wright State first half, I guess. But Wright State, again, in general, overvalued. Like some not very good performances. Losing outright to Green Bay as a 10-point road favorite, and IU Indy, not a good team. They lost to some some top competition, but they got their covers here and there. I wouldn't feel comfortable fading IU in here. I'm going to pass on this. I hope you all cash whoever bets it, but definitely going to be a pass for me.
Let's roll on here. Let's roll on. We head over to the SEC. This is a huge, huge basketball game. So we heard off the hop from our guy Stacks. Stacks moving confidently on Texas A&M. Shout out to our guy Justin McKelvey.
Stacks, 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 stacks.
We also heard from the spreadsheet play of the day on A&M. Then we also heard from BJ's best bet on A&M. We also heard from Morgan Spooner moving on A&M moneyline. The only competition with our friends is we have heard from Billy Friedrich, who is on Auburn. Auburn has been smash and grabbing opponents. That win over Kentucky was really nice because they just beat Ole Miss at home by 30. I was on Ole Miss first half, plus 7.5. They lost first half by 10, and they got destroyed in the second half. They're just beating top competition. Here come the Aggies, losers of 4 straight games, 2 straight at home. They're an angry group. It's a fishy line, but I still felt nervous enough to not bet it. I want to talk it out with you guys. Now I hear everybody on it. Obviously makes it more appealing. These teams haven't met yet this year. So this is Auburn's first spot. Spooner says Auburn scheduled loss in his opinion. JW says we're not going up against Auburn here. Absolutely not here. Yeah, BJ, we figured that they needed to save that cash for sure. Adams released here. Sounds like the New York Giants are going to make a run at Aaron Rodgers. We'll wait for that. Let's talk about the line history here for this big one. And it is a big one. Auburn now +4. Now, it's not a real 4. It's -102, but this is a huge move. So this opened up at 5.5, dropped to 5, dropped to 4.5, back up to 5 around when the show started, then down to 4. Now, Auburn being bet pretty heavy at 4. But when this 11:15 a.m. when this moved to Texas A&M +4, Texas A&M was -114. You could have got Auburn -4 at -103. So there's been a 12-cent move towards Auburn. I imagine that I can wait here and get a better line, because the public's got to come in and back Auburn. This was a bet I would have been on it with you guys had I known you'd all be on it. This total opening up at 149, it climbed all the way up to 152, then it dropped down to 150.5. And then I think the cash flow will tell a lot of this story. We have just 25% of tickets and 36% of cash on A&M, 65 and 68 on the over. Take it away for us here, Pistol. Auburn Tigers, Texas A&M Aggies.
All right. Yeah, well, obviously, the line has gotten bet down. And again, Auburn literally nothing to play for. I don't even think they have a possible number 1 seed in the tournament to play for. I mean, I guess if they lose here, lose to Alabama, and then I don't know, lose early in the conference tournament somehow, would that even result in them being a not number 1 seed? Probably. I don't know. But again, it makes me very, very, very nervous to fade legit elite teams for the reason that they don't have anything to play for. But I will take a shot here. Maybe I'll shock the world with another -115 odds bet. I think I'll take a shot with first half under 72 -116. First half under 72 -116. I know that obviously Auburn is a explosively high scoring team, but Texas A&M probably will employ some kind of game plan to slow it down at least early. Probably Auburn will be amenable to that at least for a half. Could lose, but I'm going to take first half under 72 -116. Official.
That's a real interesting look. I've been trying to stay away from totals, but I think it just makes complete sense here. Shout out to my guy, Ricky. I don't think it can drop enough here. But the thing is that if he can get down lower, we can wait till the end of the season instead of just paying you off at 40 game mark because he is dropping. But Kings looked horrific. That was so fucking embarrassing, man. All right, Pete, moving on the first half under. If you were forced to bet A&M here, would you find the first half more appealing than the full game?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, sure. It's just such a low number, and you're going up against a legit Final Four likely. Yeah, it's just like such a scary thing to do. Okay. And these kinds of teams, it's like, yeah, they got nothing to play for, but if they start losing a game, it just things they might lose it, but things can just change on a dime, and they'll be like, we don't care if we have nothing to play for. We're going to try to get a win.
Yeah, I'm going to take some more time here. So we have just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games left, and I bet 2 of them. There's our guy Dabby Cab in the house. Troy Torrance says this is A&M and the under all day. Let's roll here. West Virginia, Utah Utes is our next spot. I moved on Utah -3.5 and -110. We're at the John M. Huntsman Center in Salt Lake City, Utah. So let's roll here. And Dabby Cab says so many seniors on A&M, and it's seniors night. Let's get into the line history here for this Utah Mountaineer spot. We have a 135.5. It's -112 to the over. This opened up at 136.5. We dropped 1 point down to 135.5. Get into the point spread here for this spot. We have, and I got in at 3.5, and it's still a 3.5. This opened up at 3.5. It did drop to 3 at 9:36 a.m. And then 13 minutes later, it was a 4. It's not a real 4. It's -4 at -101. So that's just still a 3.5 in my estimation. Let's get to the cash flow for this one. Utah Public, too. That information wasn't available last night. 75% of the tickets and 86% of cash on Utah. That makes me nervous. 85 and 86 on the over. But Kelly McKinnon says Utah smash and grab. The Utes coming off destroying Arizona State. I didn't love that either. I don't love them coming off a dominating performance. But we've seen them beat Kansas State and Kansas. I mean, it's West Virginia is worse than them. West Virginia coming off getting destroyed at BYU. Again, it doesn't work perfectly in the fact that rather West Virginia come in feeling good about themselves. We have West Virginia's beaten Utah at home too, beat them by 11. So now it's a Rebenga spot for Utah. Kelly McKinnon says Utah by double digits. Take it away for us here, Pistol Mountaineers Utes in Salt Lake City.
Yeah, I thought Utah was a very good bet here. A little bit concerned about the line being lower than I would have expected. I bet it. Do you
want to make it official?
Probably, yeah. Sure. Why not? I'll take the money line, though. I'll take the money line. -177.
All right. Loshak on Utes. Money line -176. I moved on to 3.5, -110. Great stuff from Ron Crawford. Says, as an Auburn fan, we just won it rough for the first time since '88. We have Bama Saturday. It's a bad spot for my Tigers.
Yeah.
It's appealing. Very appealing. Let's move on to 9 p.m. Eastern. I was going to move on the Wolfpack. Jason Meyer on the other side of West Virginia. I was going to move on the Wolfpack here, but the line wasn't moving towards them. We're at Lawler Event Center in Reno. And
sorry, Jim, I actually am getting 165 on the Utah money line. That's not a good sign, though. Should be getting more. And it's not moving in the direction that I would have hoped for.
Yeah, I'm a little nervous. I'm nervous too.
We'll see.
If I hadn't, I'm just trying really hard to trust myself when I don't have information. If I had all this information, I would just stay off the spot. But we move on to Mountain West action where DJ Big Boss does it best. The Lobos heading to Reno. New Mexico coming off a 21-point victory at home versus Air Force on Saturday. Nevada coming off a 13-point loss at UNLV. Their last couple home games, they beat Wyoming. That was the smash and grab double up whenever that was. That was last week. Oh, yeah, it was last week. And then they lost by a point at home to Boise. Lobos at the top of the conference here, and I wanted Nevada. These teams played each other. It was a 82-81 overtime victory at home for the Lobos. It feels ripe for Nevada to get the Rebenga. Yeah, Dabby, will be all ears, man. Let us know what your thoughts. We capped it earlier. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Then spread wise here, we have Nevada +1 now. Oh yeah, of course. Sorry, they went from favorite to dog. Sorry, of course. I was like, what have I done? I knew that last night. That's why I stayed off of it. But I didn't. It surprised me. But we have a dog to favorite scenario. Let's get to the total here for this one. From a total standpoint, we have. Sorry about that. Here we go. From a total standpoint, we have a 149 minus 115 to the over. It's opened up at 148. We've climbed a point. And Eldorado is saying if Wolfpack best defender is playing, I would still think they would be +5. He's being on disciplinary situation. Didn't travel with the team as of a week or go. Let's get to the cash flow here. I'm not sure if we're going to. I think, it looks like we'll get the info. We have no info on the spread, but we do on the money line. The Lobo is being hammered. 85% of the tickets, but just 56% of cash. 88 and 89 on the over. Take it away for us here. Yes, Rick Dumas, we can help you in a second, but take it away, Pete. Lobos, Wolfpack in Reno.
Yeah, this will be a pass for me. Obviously, New Mexico, very good, but they've been overvalued recently. Not getting it done on the road. Nevada, though, just kind of a mid-range team. Pass for me. Really have no real opinion here. Mountain West, EJ Big Boss does it the best, and I do it not the worst, but not that good. Let's put it that way.
Let's roll on. But let's help Rick Dumas because we had that information from our guy Spooner. There's a couple things going on here. First off, Spooner's info. That's the second bit of info. Let me see if I have the first bit of info off the top quickly because basically their senior point guards hurt. They're not giving information on it. But first off, I don't know where I have that somewhere. Here. Yes, I do. I have both. Okay. So Vermont hasn't lost on senior night since 2013. This is from Spooner. He says Albany's head coach 0-7 versus Vermont. The spot feels like it's tailor-made for Albany to get a big win in Burlington. This line is suspiciously short. He also says, I believe the Vermont Catamounts lost their senior point guard for the season this weekend. No media coverage, but it appeared to my eyes and ears to be an Achilles. Their top two seniors are not healthy. That's from Spooner there for you, Rick. Let's move on to the next spot. This is the final bet that I've already locked in. I'm on Ohio State -6 at -110 at home against the Cornhuskers in Columbus, Ohio. Let's get into the line history and the setup here for this spot. It felt like, look at that. Trent Frederick, this is from our friend Jose. Trent Frederick being traded to the Oilers. He's a solid center. The Devils retain 50%. Oh, God, I'm thinking, sorry, let me go back. Let me just double check that. I was thinking of the Bruins, Frederick. I'm going to have to study this more here. Sorry, I'll move over here. Oh, yeah, so I know this is the right thing. So the Bruins retain, it's the Frederick from the Bruins. Trent Frederick traded from the Bruins to the Oilers. So that's interesting. A 3-team deal. So the Devils are retaining 50% of Frederick's salary. So the Devils are giving up. So Hughes is done for the season. If they're picking up salary right now, that means they haven't announced yet, but Hughes is done for the season. They're giving up. Wow. That's great stuff. DC Capper on New Mexico -1. We're going to get into that spot here in a second. We have Ohio State coming off the victory at USC 87-82. They haven't played in a while now. Nebraska coming off 3 straight losses, the last 2 coming at home. Very tight games. On the road, the last time we saw them, they got destroyed by Penn State. They also lost. Ohio State lost at Nebraska 79-71 back on February 9th. To me, this shaped up as, Ohio State senior night, revenging a loss, Rebenga. This was just a great spot for Ohio State to smash and grab. Now, I didn't double up on it. This total's a 143.5. Opened up a 144.5. We have a 1-point move to the under. And then on the point spread here, we have the Buckeyes at 6.5. So I only beat it by a half point. Not a big deal. This opened up at 6. It dropped to 5.5. I didn't know that. So I got in at 6. It dropped to 5.5 at 2:49 this morning. I thought I'd beat the move because I saw it this morning at 6.5 before the show started. Then it got to 7. Now we're back at 6.5. Still a half point move, but not nearly as bullish. I'll bet this guy with me on Ohio. Rick J says Nebraska is washed. We have cash flow wise, no help on the spread, but 62 and 61 on the over. Take it away, Pete. Any interest here?
Yeah, I mean Nebraska is desperate, so if they weren't washed, I would be liking them a lot, at least first half, if not full game. But they might be washed. Those are some home losses that tough to bounce back from. And in college basketball and all sports like this, of course, you have to have what it takes to bounce back, including the mindset. And if you don't have what it takes, it doesn't really matter what your mind. Nebraska might just be done. So this is gonna be a pass for me. I was thinking about Nebraska first half, but definitely not gonna take that.
Two more games on the board here. I came close to backing the Pigs of Arkansas and decided to talk it out with you guys. We have Arkansas Vanderbilt here. This is our final spot on the second to last spot on the board. Let's get into the line history right off the hop. There's been a huge move to Vanderbilt. I'm very thankful that I didn't move on Arkansas. This opened up here at 6.5. Oh, I guess, you know what, I was looking at this all day yesterday, trying to pick out the games that I was close to betting so that we could have, some real coverage here. And I saw it open up 5.5 in the afternoon. It opened up at night at 6.5, and then it moved to 7. This looked like it was going to be a 7.5 at 9:30 in the morning because the Vanderbilt -7 was -116, and I'm looking at 7.5s across the market. So we have a real legit move towards Vandy. Let's get into the total here for this one. From a total scenario, we have a 149.5 at -111. There's been a 1 cent move to the over. That's it. We get to the cash flow for this one. We have no help on the spread. 91 and 92 are on the over, though. 91 and 92 on the over. We have these Razorbacks coming off that bad loss at South Carolina. I thought this was a possibility for a letdown spot from Vandy. These teams haven't played yet this year. I'm comfortable staying off of it. Take it away, Pete. Any interest?
Yeah, it's tough. Arkansas also has an injury. I don't know if you know about that. Adu Thiero, he's like their leading everything. And he was actually out for the Texas game, which they won in OT, then out for the South Carolina game. And I'm assuming he's going to be out here or banged up. So, that's that's a significant loss for them. And Vanderbilt is also a team that I don't feel comfortable fading in general. So this will be a pass for me. At full strength, I'd probably be leaning Arkansas first half, but not going to take it. They might get scotched again here.
Yeah, I'm comfortable staying off. Yes, Rick, I explained it for over a minute. I hope you were listening. Let's move on to our next spot on the board and confirm from Jerry Davis that, yes, he is confirmed. This is our final game here in college basketball before we roll into NBA. We have the San Diego State Aztecs 20-7, 13-5 in the Mountain West at the UNLV Rebels 16-13, 10-8 in the Mountain West. We're at Thomas Mack Center in Las Vegas, Nevada. I wanted to back San Diego State here, but the line was moving away from them, and I thought better off just talking to you guys about the spot. Looks like the line has continued to move away from them. We have the Aztecs off back-to-back wins. That was a big, impressive one at home over the Lobos. It was a great bounce back after that loss at Utah State. They followed up by barely squeaking past Wyoming in a game where I thought that they were kind of overlooking Wyoming and focused more about this spot here. So winners of 2 straight. The Aztecs will be playing at home versus Nevada on the 8th. But they lost at home to UNLV 76-68, which I found an appealing spot to back them. The Rebels are here. This is their senior night against San Diego State. They're coming off beating up on the Wolfpack by 13. That was a very impressive performance at home. They've been playing good basketball. Let's get into the line history. From a total perspective, we have a 129 minus 112 to the over. This opened up at 131, got up to 132 before it started dropping. Now we see a 129. And then on the point spread, we have, here we go. On the point spread, we have UNLV +2. This has been a clear move to them. They opened up at +3.5. This isn't a spot where I want to flip here. This is spot where I guess I want to stay off. I was just kind of wrong on my initial take. We have no information on the spread, but we knew 93% of tickets, 92% cash on the money lines on the Aztecs. It's moving a 1.5 towards UNLV, 94-95 on the over. Any interest in our final spot here on the board, Pete?
Not really. I mean, San Diego State, their seeding for the conference tournament isn't clinched, but they have clinched the first round bye. But then for UNLV, I think this doesn't really make much of a difference at all, really. They're just playing for the 6 or 7 seed. They'll be playing, a crappy team. So yeah, I pass for me. I guess I'd be leaning UNLV, but pass. I mean, I'd definitely be leaning UNLV, but pass.
All right. Yeah, Rick Dumas, Spooner giving you his info. Hit him on X. I did give you all the information that Spooner gave us. All right, let's move on to NBA here. Let's review action in college basketball. I came into the show with 7 bets, 5 of which I bet last night, 2 I bet this morning. They were first half bets that weren't available last night. So my action from last night, I'm on Virginia Tech +8, Duquesne +9.5, Toledo +5, Ohio State -6, and Utah -3.5. I'm nervous about the Duquesne and Utah spots. I moved on Kentucky first half -6.5 and Wright State first half -4.5. Those were the bets that I came in with. Let's go over action here. I'll go over everybody's action when we're done NBA, but here for action, I'm going to move on UMass Lowell, New Hampshire, and South Carolina. I still have some interest in UTSA. I'm going to spend a little bit more time on it. Loshak's on Rutgers, first half +6.5. I think it's too late for Northern Kentucky. I got to let it go. Even if there's buyback, that buyback will just make me nervous. Loshak moved on St. Louis, first half +4. I got off of Dayton comfortably. Respect play today, VCU, first half -4.5. I'm on Duquesne +9.5. I'm nervous. I have interest in Northern Illinois. I'm going to have to study it more. I have Toledo +5, and I honestly want to double up. I want to take them first half too. I'll see if I it doesn't really make sense to double up on, unless you're really bullish. To have one bet mean that much more to you than all your other bets doesn't really make sense to me. Wright State, first half -4.5. I have Loshak's moved on the first half under 72 in Auburn, Texas A&M. That cost -116. I'm interested in joining them. I'm late. I wish I came to the show with Texas A&M +5.5. I'll see if there's enough buyback on Auburn. I moved on Utah -3.5. As I said, Loshak moved on the Utes money line. And no other additions there. I don't expect to add any more. So that's our college basketball coverage here for Tuesday, March 4th. Thank you guys for rocking with us. We're going to roll right into NBA, Pete. So let's just hammer away. We have the Sweaty Butchers prime cut. Let's see what else we have. I'll go over what else. But why don't you set up the first game for us here in the association? It's going to be a fun card. We start with the Rockets Pacers.
All right. Well, Houston, Indy. Houston off a back-to-back off of the OKC loss, but they covered. It was very high scoring. Pacers rolling it home, and the Rockets have a bunch of personnel issues, the injuries, and guys who are out, but the guys who are replacing them are getting minutes and seem motivated. I was thinking over.
Sorry, just answering my guy, man bear pig. Yes, let's discuss this Rockets Pacers spot, Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Rockets on the second half, back-to-back after losing 137-128. The Thunder last night, they were down 4 starters. And they stepped up. No Alperen Sengun with the back injury, no Van Fleet with the ankle injury, no Dylan Brooks with the knee injury, no Amen Thompson with the shoulder injury, and they stepped up. Reed Shepherd and Cam Whitmore were very, very good, and we know that Cam Whitmore expects to be playing 40 minutes a game in the NBA right now, and his cockiness works, but I guess it hasn't worked in the locker room. Let's take a look at the line history and the cash flow for this spot. Shepherd went for a career high 25 and 5. 25 points was a career high. Whitmore went for 27 points. That tied his career high with 11 boards, 2 steals, 3 blocks, and a double-double. 40 minutes he played. And Shepherd out of Kentucky, that was his first career start. This is game 2 of a 3-game trip. Pacers coming off their second win in 3 games, 127-112 win at home over the Bulls on Sunday. Naismith went for 27. All 5 starters scored in double figures. Naismith missed 35 games with that ankle injury. He came back on January 16th. Certainly feels like he's really rounding into form right now. Benedict Mathurin's missed 2 games with the wrist injury. He's listed as questionable. So let's first get all the information from the shoot-arounds so that we can see who is expected to be in and out here and then go over the line history. Right now, Van Fleet is out, but everybody else who missed the game is a game time decision. So we'll start. No more information on Amen Thompson. See if we'll get any more information on Sengun. I mean, the shoot around's not going to be up yet, right? Or they're not going to bother with it because they're on the second half of a back to back. So we're getting no information. Let's see. Terry Eason missed the game too. So we got to wait to get the information from them. Over from the Pacers here, it's just Mathurin. He's doubtful, so we can expect Benedict Mathurin to be out. This is a fishy line. -3.5. It's telling me that some of these guys are going to be in. It's opened up -4, -111, dropped down to 3.5, and there was a 3. It was a flat 3 before the show started. We're back at 3.5, but with no vig. It's a very legitimate move towards the Rockets. The total's at 232.5. It's juiced to the over -108. This opened up at 228.5. We've climbed 4 points on this total. Bamber picks his Pacers should easily win this game, but he's passing. Bet this guy Rockets Pacers under 233. Bamber pick. I have to remember because that was going to be on the show, but I cut it late, so there had to be some reason why I didn't want Seton Hall, and we got to be done at 3 hours. From the cash flow in this spot, we have just 38% of tickets and 36% of cash on the Rockets, and the line moving towards them. 88.91 on the over. I like the back to Pacers at home, and I can't understand why this line's moving towards the Rockets. Pete, any interest in this one?
No, interesting that Bet the Sky likes the under. Pass for me.
Yeah, I'm thankful that I haven't already moved on the Pacers. This line is extremely confusing. Doesn't make any sense. Let's roll on, Pete. Let's roll on to the next game on the board here.
All right. Well, Toronto, Orlando, one of those games where they are playing each other in the same venue, two games in a row. Toronto won the first one, of course, 104-102, low scoring. Orlando, I thought Orlando should be a little bit better recently. So got a high line here. Orlando first half has got to be a decent play, right? Or am I missing something? Is Toronto just like actually pretty good?
I mean, they're getting better as the season goes on, getting healthier as the season goes on. Now, Grady Dick is out for this one. That's the only player that you might not have known was going to be out. Battle, Agbaji, BI, and Temple also out, but that was expected. So Walter comes in at the 2. So it's quickly Walter, Barrett, Barnes, and Pirtle. Cole Anthony is a game time decision here for the Magic. I mean, their shooting performances have been so poor, but I truly do believe that Jalen Suggs not being in the lineup is a main reason. They've always been a bad 3-point shooting team, and they're going to have to make changes with their roster to fix that. But Cole Anthony is questionable with the left toe strain here. When we get to the line history, the total's at 209.5 -114 to the under. This opened up at 209 and got up to 210 before it dropped back to 209. So I had no movement on the total. On the point spread here, we have these Orlando Magic -7.5 with no vig. This opened up at 7. Maybe it really hasn't moved a half point. Maybe we'll call it a quarter of a point. Chase J says Raptors are +230 now to make the play-in. UPK Yash looking at Pacers, Raptors, and Knicks. Jennifer asking opinions on the under in this one. Let's take a look at the cash flow. I think that will help as well. Only 22% of tickets and 21% of cash on the under. We talk about how familiarity breeds contempt. I expect this to be a tough game, especially with Raptors winning the first one. I find the under appealing. 47% of tickets and 58% of cash on the Orlando Magic here. Mr. Heat's on the under, and Bet the Sky says he would only look on the under. Raptors snapped their 3-game losing streak with a 104-102 victory here on Sunday. Magic's third straight loss, 4th in 5 games with all coming at home. Wagner, went for 25. Banchero for 23. They were down 19 in the fourth quarter, and they almost came back in. This 7-game home stand.
Well, this got to be Orlando first half, right?
Well, I think it's Orlando first half and full game because the This is game 6 of a 7-game homestand, which is my favorite spot in NHL and NBA. They're coming off losing to this squad, and they get to play them again 2 nights later. What was the issue? The issue was the paint. I mean, the Raptors dominated the paint. Pirtle was a monster. Raptors had 12 offensive rebounds. Pirtle had 6. So there's a 20-point advantage in the paint for the Raptors. So then the question is, do the Magic have the roster to stop that from happening? Can Wendell Carter step up? IQ had a great second half. Barrett, in the second half, went for 17, 24 in the game. Barrett went for 22. Pirtle 16 and 11. And then Scotty Barnes did very little, but he always does a ton defensively. So, yes, I really do think that this is a spot where we double down on the Orlando Magic.
All right, I'll tell you, my official play is going to be Raps first half team total under 49.5 minus 112. There you go.
Raptors team total under
first half 49.5 minus 112.
Yeah, I like that. Rogers is already being released, Clint. So yeah, they're both gone. JW says all Orlando has to do is run Badadzi and Carter. Badadzi at the 5, Carter at the 4. At the same time, move France to either the 2 or the 3, or 2 or the 1 or the 2. Yeah, that makes sense to me, JW. They've got. So you're saying that they do with Badadzi have somebody in the lineup that can change things. I don't know if I want to get involved in the total, just because I'm realizing now that this is a pretty nice spot for first half full game. And I don't want the total to mess with me. And if I was, then I guess it would be. I think Pete's look is an extremely sharp look on Raptors team total 49. I think it's extremely sharp. Because if the Magic cut off the paint and cut off Pirtle from dominating the game, then they're in business. So I'm certainly moving on this game on the Magic, and I'm gonna try to break down what the best spot is for under, whether it be Raptors team total first half or full game under, or Raptors full game team total under. I'll have to make that decision. I'm going to be involved though. Pete, let's roll in. Pete, moving on that first half under. Pete, let's roll on to Bucks Hawks.
Yeah, well, Milwaukee really rolling ATS recently. Very impressive. Offensively good. Defensively good. Atlanta on a back-to-back off the road dog win at Memphis. I was thinking maybe Milwaukee first half team total over Milwaukee. I mean, Milwaukee's sort of a train. Don't want to get in front of it. Maybe just jump on it. Why not? One more time. Why not?
Yeah, I'm still beating myself up for not taking them against the Nuggets. I talked about it the whole time and left that one off the card. It's been a good basketball season, very decent, profitable basketball season here. That is wild, Chase J. I've copied and pasted those. I need to sit with them longer and think it over here. We're just moving so quickly. But Bucks 34 and 25, 13 and 16 on the road. Atlanta Hawks 28 and 33, 13 15 home at State Farm Arena in Atlanta, Georgia here. Let's get into that line history, Pete, from a spread perspective. We just had a move. It just moved as well. From a spread perspective here, Atlanta is plus 5.5. There's been 7 cents of movement towards the Bucks at minus 5.5. After that extremely exhilarating basketball game the Hawks just played, I mean, it feels like it is a Bucks spot. This total has been wild, Pete. Opened up at 243, then dropped all the way down to 239 at 9:30 in the morning. And now we're back at 242.5. So crazy U-shaped movement there. When we get to the cash flow, we have 53% of tickets, 55% of cash on the Bucks. On the total, it's 61 and 61 on the over. Bucks coming off their second straight win in 6 and 7 games, 132-117 at Dallas on Saturday. It's defense. Since the All-Star break, the Bucks are limiting opponents to 108.8 points per game. That's 7th in the NBA. Their 107.4 defensive ratings tied for 4th. Over the last 5 games, been even tougher. They're allowing opponents to shoot 29.6 from 3 and 43.9 from the field. But they've been dealing with injuries. Kuzma is doubtful here. Let's just do another look at the injury report. We have Kuzma. I've got him at game time. He listed as questionable. I have him as doubtful. Wow. Okay, so I had him in my notes as doubtful, but here he's listed as questionable. Pete Nance out. Portis, of course, out with the suspension. Connaughton out. And then you have Antetokounmpo here as a game time decision as well. But he's listed as probable, so Giannis going to be in. On the other side, we know that Krejci's out and Larry Nance is out. And then Trae Young is a game time decision, but he's been listed as probable. So you have Trae Young and Giannis Antetokounmpo in. And my expectation was that Kuzma was going to be out, but maybe that's not quite the case. This is the first also of a back-to-back for the Bucks. They host Dallas tomorrow night. Hawks are on the second half of a back-to-back after snapping their 2-game losing streak with an exhilarating 132-130 victory at Memphis last night. They were down 13 with 9 minutes left, and Dyson Daniels just continues to blow our minds defensively. It was his steal, 3.8 seconds left, feeds Livert for the winning basket, averaging 3 steals a game. There's 5 players in second. He averages 1.2 more a game than them. I mean, he's got to be in contention for Defensive Player of the Year award. Levert put up 25 points as well. Game tying and game winning baskets. George Niang sick. This is game 1 of his 6-game homestand. Doesn't this feel like the spot to fade them? It does. Doesn't this feel like a spot to back the Bucks here? I mean, after that exhilarating, phenomenal performance that we saw them play last night, why wouldn't we be on the Bucks, Pete?
Yeah, don't overthink it.
Yeah, I'm gonna move on the Bucks.
All right, I'll take it. I'll take minus 3, minus 101 with you. First half, minus 3, minus 101.
Okay, Pete is in. I'm gonna move on them full game here. Justin McKelvey has Giannis 14 or more boards, 14 or more boards here. Okay. So let's roll on here. Let's roll on. Next up for us is Golden State Warriors, 33-28, 16-15 on the road. The New York Knicks, 40-20, 21-10 at home at Madison Square Garden in New York. New York. You want to set this one up, Pete?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the Warriors freaking awesome since Butler, since they got Butler, just rolling. They're on a back-to-back, but blew out Charlotte last game. They're just a juggernaut right now, and the Knicks back from Miami slumping ATS. So now Golden State getting a whole bunch of points. I don't know. Golden State, why not?
Total is at 227. This opened up at 232. Wow, just a huge drop. Not only that, when this came out at 2:30 p.m. in the afternoon, this was a 234.5. I mean, this number just flying down to dropping quickly. New York here minus 5.5, minus 105. They opened up at minus 4.5. When this opened in the afternoon, they were just minus 3. So it's a pretty big move now. Now this moved to 5 and then went back to 4.5 this morning. This was 4.5 for a while. Now we're at 5. We're going to move towards the Knicks. Let's get to the cash flow here for this one. On the total, 83% of the tickets, 82% of the cash, and it's dropped from 234.5 all the way down to 227.5. I mean, that's just nuts. Absolutely wild. At what point do you think that it's just gone too far under? 72% of the tickets, 70% of the cash on the Golden State Warriors. This is a public road dog. The Warriors are playing on the road for their 11th time in their past 13 games. The Knicks are also, both teams are exhausted. The Knicks have been in a different arena from the previous game, 7 straight games. Warriors on the second half of back-to-back after winning their 6-7, 119-101 at Charlotte on Monday. Nobody played more than 32 minutes, so they're in not bad shape, decent shape. Let's take a look at the injury information. Peyton Kuminga out, and Steph is a game-time decision listed as questionable with right ankle soreness. For the Knicks, Cat is a game-time decision listed as questionable. Personal. While attending to a personal matter. I mean, the market's telling us he's going to be in. Wild. We have the Knicks coming off their 3rd straight win. Another underwhelming victory. 116-112 in overtime Miami on Sunday. Getting their first look at Jimmy Buckets He was not available for that 126-119 loss. Against the Hornets, he played 31 minutes, 13 points, 3 boards, 4 assists, and a steal. They're 8-2 since acquiring him, and they're 8-1 with him on the floor. And it's the Heat, right? The Knicks. Who is it? Sorry, I've got to double check this. I've got this under the Warriors. Are the Warriors flying across the country tomorrow to play the Lakers at Crypto? Or is that the Knicks? I need to find that out. I'm going to find that out right now. It's my notes are saying that it's the Warriors, but I thought in my head it was the Heat.
Wait, going to LA?
Yeah, who's flying to LA tomorrow?
That's the Knicks. The Golden State is staying and playing the Nets.
Okay, thank you. That's a really tough spot for the Knicks, having to fly tomorrow to LA, play them on Thursday. This one's difficult. You close to I don't want to move. I'm certainly not moving on the Warriors, the public darling, and the line moving away from them. But I'm hesitant to back the Knicks here. Your thoughts, Pete?
Yeah, no, I'm going to pass on this one.
All right, let's roll on to Cavaliers Bulls.
Okay, hold on one second.
There's our guy Kent Davies in the house. Kent and Jose are putting together the big big Saturday golfing expedition at Pubapalooza. Pete, Cavs, Bulls.
Yeah, Cavs, Bulls. Cleveland obviously rolling, but needed OT to win as a double-digit home favorite in the last one. Bulls off a blowout loss to Indy. Cleveland, great team, but got to be thinking that at 12.5. I don't know where it's moving. At 12.5, the Bulls got to be thinking that's the side here.
Sorry to take us back, Pete, but Steph must be out.
I don't know.
Public's all over them, and this line's growing and growing. I mean, he's not being announced out, but he just a super true story on the under 243 here. Let's get the line history for Cavs Bulls. Cavs minus 12.5 at minus 104. They open up at 12, so we've had a half-point move towards the Cavaliers. This is a huge number, but Cavaliers coming off a underwhelming performance themselves. This total is at 243. It's minus 108 to the under. This opened up at 246.5. Wow. It opened up at 246.5 at 7 p.m. as well as at 2 p.m. here. Let's get into, and yes, I have the Mitchell being held out for rest here. DeAndre Hunter went for 32. Dan Kelly says that was a day game versus a tough Portland team without Mitchell. When we get to the cash flow, 70% of the tickets, 66% of cash on the Cavaliers, and on the total, 72 and 69 on the over. Looking at some injury issues here, Mobley out, so it's Allen at the 5, Okoro at the 4, Strus at the 3, Mitchell at the 2, Garland at the 1, and Vooch continues to be out. Vooch and Williams are out, and then we have a ton of game time decisions. We'll go through them all. Herter is questionable here. He missed Sunday's game due to this knee sprain, so he's questionable. You have Giddey is also questionable, sprained left ankle. Then you have Lonzo Ball. He is questionable with a right wrist sprain. And then finally, you have Kobe White, who's been spectacular, listed as probable, which means if he's listed as probable, the other three are listed as questionable. I mean, I think you can expect them not to be in the lineup. This is a first of a back-to-back for the Cavs. They head home to host the Heat tomorrow night. The Bulls coming off their second loss in 3 games, 127-112. The Pacers on Sunday. Kobe White, 50 points combined over his last 2 basketball games. We have 72 and 69 on the over and 70 and 66 on the Cavs. Take it away, Pete. Any interest?
Yes. Let me see. I mean, I'd be leaning Chicago, but not gonna pull the trigger on it.
Yeah, and Slow Jumps Arsenal also thinking that Steph could easily be out here. Man Bear Pig liking the Bulls money line for a huge score. I am. Yeah, I don't. It's probably a Cavs just absolute smash and grab. But it is the first half of a back-to-back. Maybe you're better off backing the Cavs early, which I may do. I want to sit with it a little longer. Pete, let's set up Sixers Timberwolves.
Okay, I might have to leave in a few minutes, Jim. I might not be able to finish that NBA here, but yeah,
No
this
worries.
one I know Maxey is uncertain. I'm assuming that he's going to be out here. So Minnesota back from the 4-game trip, won their last one by like 20, and Philly on a back-to-back, blown out at home by Portland last game. So this is a total pass for me.
Yeah. God, what a mess. What an absolute mess the Sixers are. We have no information on a lot of these guys. We're just expecting, George and Maxey all to be out. I mean, I think we're certain that Maxey is out. And then I think it's very highly likely that Paul George is out. But again, we don't know. It's second half of back-to-back, so they haven't had a shoot around. We have this total at 221.5 minus 110 to the under. This opened up at 221.5, got up to 223.5, then dropped back to 221.5. When we get to the point spread for this one, we have Philly plus 13.5. I do see 14s out there. This opened up at 12.5, got up to 14, and it's come back to 13.5. Then when we get to the cash flow, we have it's a 50-50 ticket count, but 64% of the cash is on the Wolves, 84 and 82 on the over. 76ers on the second half of a back-to-back, losing their 10th and 11 games, 119-102 at home at the Blazers versus the Blazers last night. They were outscored by 22 in the second half. The back injury that we saw Maxey have, I mean, he's not going to be in the lineup, but it doesn't look like it's going to be too big. Maxey is everything for this team. 43.7 here, shooting overall, which isn't great, but 33.7 from three, which isn't great, but 26.3 points per game. That's great. Embiid, of course, long gone. Minnesota snapped their 2-game losing streak with 116-98 victory at Phoenix on Sunday. I mean, it was amazing. I mean, Ant goes for 44, dominates the game. And Julius Randle returned 8 of 14 shooting against Phoenix for 20 points. This is a first of a back-to-back for them. They play at Charlotte tomorrow. Yeah, I don't know why the ads are hammering. I'll talk to the squad here. It's unusual. I can't understand why that's happening. So we'll try and figure that out. It's not all you do is click on and off. There's no like extra ads that I know of. It's just either ads are on or off. I'll ask the guys why that's going on. Take it away for us here, Pete. Any interest in the Sixers
No.
spot? Because I think that the Sixers, even without Maxey, can keep this game within 13. I mean, the idea Randall's not going to play. He's going to get the night off, trying to return and dealing with the groin strain. Gobert out. Not that matters that they're out, but why wouldn't these guys be able to keep this within 14? I don't see why they wouldn't. Okay, Pete, how long do we have you for?
I kind of got to go now.
Okay, fine, good.
Is that all right?
Yeah, no worries. I'll review all of your action, my man.
All right, yeah. So I don't really have anything on the last NBA games anyway, other than nothing really, nothing I was even nothing I was thinking about. Yeah. All right. Thanks, Jim. I do kind of gotta go. All right.
No worries, my man.
All right. Thanks very much. Thanks. Appreciate it.
All right. Be well. We move on to 8:30 p.m. Eastern with the Brooklyn Nets, 21-39, 12-19 on the road at San Antonio Spurs, 25-34, 14-14 at home. We're at Frostbank Center in San Antonio, Texas. Free bands play today was Brooklyn Nets +4 -115. Brooklyn comes in off their 4 straight loss, 115-94. The Pistons on Saturday. Tyrese Martin led the way for Brooklyn, 23 points off the bench. Jalen Wilson for 14. It was a very disjointed game. Cameron Johnson went for 13. And the Nets were down by 23 at halftime. They got within 6 and then kind of let go. They shot so badly. 29 of 95. 30.5% in the loss. 6 of their 39 3-point attempts. I mean, it was just as ugly. Oh, shoot. I'm the only one here now. So let me, sorry, Jose's having some Wi-Fi issues. So no worries. I got this. Oh, wait, that's not even the game we're on. Oh, yes, it is. Sorry, Brooklyn Spurs. Okay, sorry. So let's roll on. Okay, so Brooklyn also played without Cam Thomas. By the way, Johnson, though, back to Cameron Johnson, talking about he went 0 for 10 from 3. He had a 60-game streak with at least 1 3 snapped. They played without Cam Thomas. He returned Friday in the loss at home to Portland. Missed 2 months with a sprained left hamstring. Russell's not played since February 20th, but he could return. Now, Thomas is expected to play. But let's find all that information out here if we can see. Yes, everybody's in. So Russell back, Thomas back. It's Russell, Thomas, Williams, Johnson, Claxton. And then for the Spurs, it's of course Wemby out, but Castle listed as questionable here. This is a new injury, a left thumb sprain for Castle. So also, I know you guys were laughing about Killian Hayes starting at point guard for the squad. He has not received another 10-day contract. He is long gone. God, what a fall from grace for Killian Hayes. Can't even hold on to a Brooklyn Nets spot. And they started him for 5 games. Spurs coming off their 5th loss in 6 games, 146-132 at home versus Thunder on Sunday. Castle goes for 32 off the bench. De'Aaron Fox had 20. That was their first real home game for De'Aaron Fox, at Frost Bank, because they had their other games up in Austin. Shohan had 17. Vassell had 15. Barnes 14. This is their 3rd game in 4 nights. I guess I don't find this appealing because, this is a tough spot for the Spurs, 3 and 4. And then you have the Nets getting their players back. That's got to be a spark. Doesn't it have to be a spark? I know a lot of you guys are talking about backing the Spurs, but how is that not a spark for the Brooklyn Nets? This opened up at 5. Now we are down to a 3.5. This is a team that could use the fortification. Really could. Dan Kelly says 4th pick in the draft, almost as bad as Darko. Yeah. We have Bargnani, if you want to talk about terrible draft picks. How the hell did Bargnani get fucking drafted, man? So let's take a look at the cash flow here. 69% of tickets, 69% cash on the over. And then on the spread, we have only 27% of tickets and 29% cash on the Nets. Look, I think it's the Nets. I agree with Dougie Y's free bands play today. I don't usually you don't like when stars come back, but this is a team that's lost 4 straight. This is a team who's had, the 4 up. I think they're going to be happy to have these players back, and this is an exhausted Spurs squad. I like it. We have 2 games left on our show. Let's move on to our next spot, 10 p.m. Eastern, with the Los Angeles Clippers 32-28, 13-18 on the road at the Phoenix Suns 28-33, 17 and switching the graphic, lost my train of thought. 17-13 at home. We're at the Footprint Center in Phoenix, Arizona. Dan Kelly says, forgot about him. Cavs took that Canadian Bennett. Oof, that was heartbreaking to watch him be so terrible. But yes, good call, Danny. Here we go. Clippers coming off their 5th loss in 6 games, 108-102 at the Lakers on Sunday. Kawhi goes for 33 and 10 and also plays 40 minutes. Now, Stormin Norman, right hamstring soreness left. He's already been ruled out here. It's a strain. He had missed 5 games with a left knee injury. Stormin Norman's their leading scorer. I mean, you're talking about a team with Kawhi and Harden, but this guy's putting up 23.8 points per game. It's a tough loss. This is also the first of a back-to-back. They go home and they host the Pistons tomorrow night. The Suns coming off their 4th loss in 5 games, 116-98 at home versus Timberwolves on Sunday. God, this team's lost 11-14. Durant went for 26 and 10, but Durant, Beal, and Booker, they combine for 14 turnovers. Now, they are 3-0 against the Clippers this season, and they've been very, very close basketball games. Let's make sure that we know exactly who's going to be in and who's going to be out. Stormin Norman out, Simmons out, Jones out for the Clips. For the Suns, we have Bradley Beal as a game-time decision, left calf injury management. When he pushed Ant there at the end of the game, and his head on the backboard, he hit it lightly, and he pushed Ant through the air while he was in the air. It was such a dangerous play. It was such a little bitch. I hated it. I just hated it. But what are we going to expect high character for Bradley Beal? I guess it's a long shot if we're expecting that. Let's get into the line history for this spot. Phoenix right now at +2.5. They opened up at +1.5. So this line's moving towards the Clippers. The Clippers, these are just 2 teams in a world of hurt. What horrific roster decisions have been made by these 2 squads. It's it doesn't matter what sport. The free agent way is not the way. It's just not the way. Free agency is not the way to build a strong team. They got to come in through a draft and through a core and want to be there. I mean, imagine the Clippers had Shea in the palm of their hands. Went for 51 last night, another 50 burger for Shea. So we have an interesting line movement towards the Clippers here from 1.5 to 2.5. On the total here, we have a 224 at minus 108. It's opened up at 225.5. Do the Clippers care that it's been 3 straight here? Dougie White says Curry owns the Knicks. It's a stay away. I don't know if Curry's going to be playing, man. I don't know. North Ender says Clips being sharp 3 games in a row and 3 L's in a row. Oh, North Ender, we talked about it last week. I'm trying not to bet Clippers games, but who in the world doesn't want to fade the Suns? 61% of the tickets, 57% of the cash is on the Clippers. The line is moving in their direction. On the total here, we have 83% tickets, 80% cash on the over. So let's say we expect Beal out. The Clippers are just a much better basketball team, although Chris Dunn is tough to watch at times. I don't see why this isn't the Clippers' victory. I mean, at what point do we stick a fork in the Suns because they're done? I mean, to me, it feels like it should be pretty soon. I think the Clippers take care of business here. The Clippers haven't given up. They're just not that good. Sometimes you watch the Suns and you're like, this team has given up. I'm interested in the Clip Show. Let's talk about the final spot on the board here. 10:30 p.m. Eastern with the New Orleans Pelicans, 17-44, 6-25 on the road. The Los Angeles Lakers, 38-21, 23-7 at home. We're at Crypto in Los Angeles, California. We have a healthy Pelicano squad, playing their best basketball of the year. You have Hachimura out. Austin Reeves is a game time decision listed as a questionable. He missed Sunday's game with the calf issue, so I think I'll look into it further. Luka is a game time decision. He's listed as questionable with a right knee contusion. And then we have LeBron, and LeBron is listed as probable. The fact that LeBron's probable and Luka's questionable, is that a spot you want to back here or trust to back the Lakers? Pelicans are putting out effort. They're healthier than they've been. This total is at 228.5 to minus 109 to the under. It opened up at 231, so it's a pretty mass exodus towards the under. Then we have a 8.5 for the Lakers. It just seems like too many points. Opening up at 8, now at 8.5. Just feels like too many points. 79% of tickets, 78% cash is on the over. That's fine. See what's going on with the spread. 25-30 on the Pelicanos. How is this not? I'm taking the Pelicans here. I think the Pelicans fight hard. I think they can stay within 8. They're excited to play in LA. Let's go over this. So Pelicans coming out their 4th win in 5 games, 128-121 the Jazz on Sunday. Kelly Olynyk is playing rejuvenated basketball. I mean, what do you want me to say? I understand why the Raptors didn't want him, and he just went for 26 and 9. Maybe we should have kept him coming off the bench. CJ went for 25. Zion went for 24 and 9 assists. Trey Murphy went for 20. Zion's been back for 17 games and 24.9 points, 7.2 boards, 5.1 assists. He's playing well. Lakers coming off their 6th straight win, 108-102 at home over the Clippers on Sunday. Consecutive victories against the Clippers. Without Rui, mostly without Austin Reeves. They're playing well. Luka went for 29 and 9. LeBron went for 17 and 9 assists. Dorian Finney-Smith and Gabe Vincent to be moved into the Lakers starting lineup. The Dalton Connect went for 19. This is game 5 of a 6-game homestand. Not a spot I generally like to fade a team. And it's not. Maybe maybe that's enough just to get me off. But I think that the Pelicans are playing their best basketball, and there's no reason why they shouldn't stay in. Let's review all action here in NBA. I haven't moved on anything. Having a strong enough season in the black, and I guess that's all you can ask for. But I'd like to step up here. Sweaty Butcher prime cut is the Nets plus 4.5. I'm staying off Houston, Indiana. That's as fishy as can be. I'm doubling up on the Magic. Raptors first half team total under 49.5 for Loshak is appealing. Certainly appealing. Rick J says next 2 games after this for LA on national TV, this could be a look ahead spot. I mean, I'm certainly, it's just, if this wasn't game 5 of 6-game homestand, I'd already be on the Pelicans. And I may still get there. Loshak on the Bucks first half -3 at -101. I'm interested in backing the Bucks here. Full game to cover the number after that exhilarating win by the Hawks in the beginning of a 6-game homestand. Warriors and Knicks. I imagine that Curry's not going to play. I mean, why else would this line be moving this, to 5.5 for the Knicks with the way the Warriors are playing? And then, do I want the Cavs first half? I may. I'm going to want to study it a little more, but I think I may. Then, is this too many points for the Sixers? Even with, how can you? Minnesota plays to the level of their opponent, and this is a weak opponent. I could see them just playing weak basketball. I'm going to join Dougie Wise and Sweaty Butcher on the Brooklyn Nets. Usually I don't want a team with players coming back, but I think this will be a positive spark for them. And then I'm very interested in the Clippers, and I am interested in the Pelicans. And, I'll be sitting here for I'll be working until 5. So I'll have 2 hours and 47 minutes. But I'd like to get my action in, so I plan on getting it in. All right. That is our show for today. Thank you guys for rocking with us. Let's review all action here. And we'll go with everybody's action. LJ from H-Town, the Predators team total under 2.5. That's a very appealing look. It's a very appealing look. I think that the under, I'm going to sit with that one a little longer. I haven't moved on that one. San Jose Buffalo, I'm off. Loshak's on the Wings team total over 2.5. I start with the Flyers -1. I like it. A Viper MB's on the Lightning -1, Carolina -1, Winnipeg -1, Dallas -1, and the Pacers -3.5. Thank you, Kelly McInnes, my man. I love you too, Ricky. I think it's part of the fun is paying. A lot of but Carter's got skates, man. You think my boy don't have skates? But you're a good man, Ricky. But the part of the fun is being accountable about these things because there's people who aren't. So it is, but you're a good man. We can talk about it. Dan Kelly says, if you want to get in Portland to make the play-in tournament, wait. Their next 2 games are Boston and KC. Said, I should have looked at that before I bet it. Wow. Dan Kelly. That guy is just a gift. He is a gift to us. A great, great gift. Let's give a shout out to our guy, Dan Kelly. Oh, but does he want to see Kyrie hit that shot at the end of the game? That sucks that Kyrie's done for the season. It sucks. But shout out to our guy, Dan Kelly. I'm on the Jets -1. Pete's on the over 5.5 in Jets Islanders. I would like to join a lot of. I'm going to go over the basketball futures you guys are talking about, but the Devils did not make the playoffs. It just seems like a slam dunk. And by them retaining 50% of the Frederick salary, it's a perfect sign. Jose did send it all to me, though. I should just see what exactly is the trade. So to the Oilers, Trent Frederick and Max Jones. To the Bruins, 25 second-round pick from St. Louis. A 2026 fourth-round pick from Edmonton. And to the Devils, rights to Shane LeChance, and they're keeping 50%. This is a clear Devils giving up. This is a clear Hughes done for the season. I'm on the Stars -1 against the Devils tonight. Loshak on the Stars -1 and the Devils team total under 2.5. I'm interested in the under 5.5, but I want everyone to know that this Smith is in. I'm on the Avalanche -1.5, -110. I may move on the over 6.5 as well. Loshak moved on the Avalanche -188. Peters on the Ducks team total over 2.5 at +120, and the Ducks first period goal at -116. I'm off that game. I'm on the Kraken -120. Pete moved on the Kraken -1 at +142 for a score. Justin McKelvey's on Iowa State -9.5. Stacks play today #1. Number 2, Texas A&M +5.5. Spooner's play today is on UTSA +9. He's also on Albany money line, Texas A&M money line, New Mexico -1. I'm gonna look at all those spots here. Kong's clips 15 units on Pereira. 10 on the money line, 3 on the KO, and 2 on KO, second, third, or fourth round. That's a wonderful. BJ's best bet is Texas A&M Ron Crawford, NCAA play today, Texas A&M. NHL play today is the Bruins, and NBA is the Raptors. Billy Friedrichs on Auburn -4.5, and the Pigmo play today, TCU +3.5. Lex Steele is on Maine money line, and I'm about to bet these are going to be my additions in college basketball: UMass, New Hampshire, South Carolina, possibly UTSA. Loshak's on the Rutgers first half +6.5. I'm already on Kentucky first half -6.5, -115. I wanted Northern Kentucky. I was hesitant. The line's moving too quickly in their direction. If there's buyback, that probably makes me more nervous. I imagine I'm going to stay off. Rick J on Mississippi State first half here. I am on Virginia Tech +8 -110. I had interest in Dayton. A lot of you guys are on St. Louis. Loshak on St. Louis first half. I'm going to get off Dayton. I didn't bet it yet, so it's not like I'm going to, whatever. Res Mob Respect play today's VCU first half -4.5. I'm on Duquesne +9.5. They're very nervous about that. Do I want the Huskies here of Northern Illinois? I think I do. I want more time to study it. I'm already on Toledo +5 full game. I just think it's a great spot. AOD, my man. Respect. Love you too. Need AOD in San Antonio, man. God, I can't wait, man. Just counting down the days, counting down the hours. I'm on Wright State first half -4.5, -110. I couldn't get any line movement history on my side. I should have switched to a different one. Auburn, Texas A&M. Is it too late for me to get on A&M? I'm not sure. Loshak on the first half under 72. I think it's a very appealing spot. A very appealing spot. I'm on Utah -3.5, -110. Loshak moved on the money line for the Utes. I'm on Ohio State -6. And then that's it for me. It's pretty. I'm going to go over some of the Spooner spots, as I always do, and some of the spots that you guys are on that we didn't talk about. That works really well for me. The hour and a half after the show is the most important spot. But good God, with the college, trying to cut down the college basketball games, but cutting down them to games that we're talking about betting and not just content for content's sake. That took 7 hours. It's 44 games going through it. It's a battle. This week's going to be a battle. I'm prepared for it. Sweaty Butcher Prime Cut is Nets +4.5. We went over all of the NBA action. That is our show for today. Jose having Wi-Fi issues, so I'm not sure if he can jump on with me here to close out the show. So I will just say to you, thank you guys so much for rocking with us, man. We have nothing without you. We are so close. So close. God, I can just... The blunt smoke coming from the back, the warmth, the sunshine, the Wemby mural, the Jameson. I'm going to stay off the Kraken. The Kraken is just absolutely, it's just horrific headaches the next day. I'm going to try to stay off the Kraken. I land in San Antonio in 15 days. Oh, God. Just counting down the days. Thank you guys. And Spooner, I'm going to need you tomorrow. I'll be sending a message to you here shortly. Member Pig says, can you taste the Kraken already? I know I'll be getting fed Kraken. It's just gasolina, I mean, it doesn't matter how much fun the drunk is if the next day is so horrific. I don't know what I'm going to do about hangovers, man. Thank you guys. Wager Detective, Spooner, AOD, Man Bear Pig, Dan Kelly, Mr. Tomatoes, Dougie Wise, the Wager Detective. Great stuff today. Viper NB, Rick J, Dan Kelly. Thank you guys so much for all that you do for us. What a group. What a group. Ricky Levine, Rick J, Jermaine 34, Chris Warren, Markel, Bet the Sky. Great group. So thankful to cap with you guys. Justin McKelvey, Res Mob, Nasty Nate. Nasty Nate says no Kraken to me. I think it's best. I mean, it's not like Jameson doesn't do the trick. It does the trick. God, I can't wait. 15 days, just counting down the days. Mr. Heat, thank you. All you guys at JW, North Ender. Let's go out there and get that cash. These Thursdays have been very profitable. And then I've fallen off on Wednesday. Let's have another profitable Tuesday. And let me figure my shit out on Wednesdays, man. There was not a taint, Ricky. I did not receive a taint. Let me double check, though. I haven't looked at my messages. That's been a problem during the show, not looking at messages. No taint. No taint. Oh, we do have a taint from Jose, and I'm already on it. Beautiful. Virginia Tech +7.5. I got the 8 last night. Virginia Tech is sweet. Sweet taint. Taint. Chris Warren, man, it's mutual. I'm so thankful. I get so much. I get so much from this group. So thank you guys for all that you do for me, man, and for the channel. A shout out to all of the members. I see so many green names in there. We thank you enormously for that. And the gifts, gifting up memberships, all of that stuff. It means so much to us. So we thank you for all that. Thank you to Peter Loshak and to our producer, Jose Sweet Tea Tits Snips Bouquet, for all that they do for us behind the scenes. Now let's go out there and get the fucking money. Leche! Los